Nancy Pelosi, she fell. She broke her hip. I hope she's all right. They're saying she was rushed to the hospital and she's probably going to need surgery. And, I'm not going to rag on an old person for getting injured, even though I don't like her. This is not fun. But I will take advantage of the moment to express we need younger people in office. And these older folks, thank you for whatever it is you did. I don't know. I have great disdain for Congress, but you lived your life. Now it's time to retire and let younger people step in. And it's not going to happen, Nancy, until you retire. Okay. What is she? 80? She's 84. I'm sorry. Okay. I hope you're okay. I hope she's all right. I hope she now decides that it's time to retire and we can't have it. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we're going to talk about just like, this weird stuff, man. These drones that are flying around, apparently they're airplanes. And I would not be surprised if that was the case. At least the White House is saying, yeah, all of these sightings from all these people, they're airplanes. And people don't know what they're looking at because they don't know what airplanes are. And it could be mass hysteria. However, one of these drones apparently crashed. And when they went to go investigate, there was nothing there, which proves it. Aliens. Okay, not really. But one can hope, or fear, I guess. So we'll talk about that, and there's a bunch of other crazy stories. The Duke lacrosse rape hoax is now, everyone knew it was, but it's confirmed. And the woman who claimed that she was raped by these Duke lacrosse players 20-some-odd years ago, just shy of 20 years ago, she's now admitted the whole thing was fake. So we've got some stuff to talk about, and then there's an OpenAI whistleblower found dead. Yikes. But it's Friday night. It's a slow news night, so we're just hanging out, chilling, have a good time. Head over to castbrew.com and buy coffee because coffee tastes good. We got Stand Your Grounds, which is what you must do. Stand Your Grounds. And Rise with Roberto Jr., rest in peace, and Appalachian Nights, everybody's favorite. Now, if you become a member over at Timcast.com, you're going to get 15% off all Cast Brew coffee products for life. So it's definitely worth it. And then, of course, head over to BooniesHQ.com and you can get one of all of these wonderful skateboards. Now, I know all of you love Step on Sneck and Find Out because it sells out all the time. But, of course, with Right to Arm Bears, everyone's been a big fan of that. If you believe that large grizzly bears should be wearing flannel overshirts and carrying shotguns with hats on, then this board is the board for you. Or perhaps you want to celebrate love with Johnny Haynes' pro model, Gay Frogs. If you want to have a nice skateboard depicting two frogs deeply in love, drinking a green substance that perhaps is a pesticide of sorts, wonder what that could be, under a rainbow, then Gay Frogs is the skateboard for you. But also head over to timcast.com, click join us to become a member and support our work directly. As a member, you'll get access to our Discord server where you'll hang out with like-minded individuals and they all want to be your friends. And they're wondering why are you are not at the party yet. You'll also get 15% of Cast Brew for life. So definitely smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more. Finally, it's Richie Jackson.
Hello. I am Richie Jackson, professional skateboarder, and I'm very happy to be here.
Is that it? Just professional skateboarder, happy to be here.
Yeah, I got nothing else.
All right. Thanks for hanging out. He's got a mustache. That's something else. Carter's here.
What's up? Carter Banks, professional audio engineer, all things music for Timcast and Trash House. Also pleased to be here. Pumped to be on with you,
You
Richie.
guys, okay, Phil's here too.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary, and if you want, I can go on.
Well, no, I was going to say, like, how come Phil and I look like it's warm in here and you guys look like it's cold in here?
Wait, you're
I was
anti-communist?
trying to match Richie's style.
Rich is wearing this thick coat. Carter is wearing a thick coat, and then Phil and I are wearing shirts.
Oh, zipped up too to like up to the top.
Oh, yeah, you should probably
do you have
take the
do you have
scarf off.
hickeys from all the sexy ladies?
I am
that are
wearing a
sucking on your neck?
turtleneck.
See?
What? Yeah.
Look at it. He's hiding hickeys, I bet.
Jeez.
Could be.
Well, how
I don't
about
know.
instead of talking about that, we just talk about the news. We got the story from the New York Post. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, 84, rushed to hospital after breaking hip in fall on foreign trip. And, I didn't know if I was like, should we lead with this story? Because how do you do this? I'm going to be completely honest. When I heard she fell, and again, I know, guys, I'm going to get a lot of criticism for this, but I laughed. And and the reason why I'm somewhat reluctant to mention, because I'm sitting in the other room and the news broke, and it wasn't like I started busting out laughing, but I just like chortled. It's because I don't want her to get hurt. I hope she's okay. Seriously, I do. They're saying she's going to need surgery, but we got too many seriously old people in government. That's what the chortle is. It's like, of course this is going to happen. How are we a nation where one of our three branches of government is a gerontocracy? And don't get me wrong, like I know Donald Trump is old as well, but Trump is spry. I mean, I'm looking forward to 2028 with J.D. Vance or somebody else. But let me show you this photo that they have from over at the Daily Mail. Everyone's pointing out that Nancy Pelosi is struggling to hold on to this guy's arm when they took this photo. And that's indicative of something else is wrong. I think she needs to retire immediately, and they need to have a special election in San Francisco.
That is a wonderful idea. 80 people in their 80s they don't have to worry about the future all that much, or there's not a lot of future for them to worry about. They shouldn't be in making policy decisions for people that actually do have to worry about the future. I mean, I think there's a good argument that was addressed by the founders, saying you have to be a certain age because you need a certain amount of life experience. I assume they didn't really expect people to stay in government for as long as they did. I was watching the All In podcast today, and they were talking about how many people on Trump's team are actually leaders of business. And one of the interesting things that Trump is doing is he's not finding people in the defense industry to go into the Defense Department, or people in the financial industry to go into Treasury and stuff like that. He's taking people that are very smart and that have amassed great wealth because of their intelligence and because of their ability in business, and he's bringing those people in places where they might not be normal for them. But that's a good thing, because then you get different ways of thinking in these positions.
Yeah, it's like having people from, he's building like an all-star cast of people that actually have proven life experience doing those things.
And one of the things that the founders, like all of the founders of this country, they all had other professions.
Weren't they all in their 20s?
No, they weren't all in their 20s, but they were in their 20s and 30s when they
were young dudes.
The revolution happened. But when Jefferson wrote the Declaration, he was 33. But they actually governed when they were in their 40s and 50s and stuff like that. But they all had jobs. They all spent a time in government, served the country, and then went back to their jobs. They went back to being normal citizens. And one of the things the guys on the podcast were talking about was this is a very good thing, because it keeps people from being, institutionally involved in the bureaucracy.
Let's just take a pause a second and take a look at the Commonwealth, the once great colonies of the crown. And, I just got to say, what was Canada? Huh? A bunch of fur traders? What was Australia? A bunch of prisoners. New Zealand?
Now, you
I don't even
watch
know.
it, buddy.
I don't even know people in New Zealand were doing. Americans,
Good question.
We were fighting bears and fighting back.
Yep.
You see, this is a nation founded by the strongest. That's why we blow up a bunch of children overseas in wars we shouldn't be involved in.
Well, I don't know if that's on the positive side. But just saying.
That's the joke.
But it is a good idea to have people from private industry come into the government and then go back to private industry.
Right.
Well, on that note, I think it's the perfect time for me to renounce my Australian citizenship and present to you.
Does that count, actually?
Oh,
A verbal contract.
straight into a commercial.
I don't know what the rules are for us for renouncing Australian citizenship, but
I didn't really renounce it, but I am an American. Just to make that clear, I've had a few people saying, but he's not American. I am. I'm a naturalized citizen and proud to be one. And
so you actually came here legally.
100%.
Legally, you didn't.
Yes, I went by the book. But
How long
here's...
How very 1980s of you.
Right.
Oh, jeez, man. That's pretty wild where we are as a country.
That's crazy.
Another story, which we'll get into in a second, though, is like Biden selling off the border wall, which is just absolutely insane.
To who?
But how long did it take you, good sir, to come here legally?
It didn't take that long. It was actually pretty easy. I studied.
Really?
Yeah, I studied for the citizenship test. It's 100 questions, and they end up asking you about 10, and you have to get 8 right.
Like, what was one of the questions?
If the president dies and the vice president dies, who will be the president?
Nancy Pelosi.
There you go.
It's not actually true, though. It would be Mike Johnson.
Oh, really?
It would have been Nancy Pelosi a couple years ago, but yes, Speaker of the House. Who's after that?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. It was a long time ago.
Is it President Pro Tem?
I believe so.
Of the Senate? And then who's after that? It's funny that you're only supposed to know 2.
Yeah, but I can.
Arnold
confirm
Schwarzenegger.
I think it
authority
starts with the
that.
cabinet after that.
Okay, are you sure?
I'm not sure. I said I think.
No, I don't think that's true. Cabinet, maybe, but I doubt it. What's another question?
let me see. It's
What was the Civil War fought over?
yeah, exactly.
Did they actually ask that?
Yeah, they did.
What movie was it where? Oh, it was Simpsons. When Apu is taking the test, and he's like, "Well, actually, it's kind of complicated. Some people might say that it was the slavery, but that there was a lot of tension." He goes, "Just say slavery."
Just say slavery. It was like that. Yeah, it was.
It was like that. Just say slavery.
It was easy, man. I aced it and I was in. Yeah.
Did you actually get like a number score?
No, I just was.
Pass fail.
I won. Yeah, it's past.
But when you're like, how did you first apply? Like, how do you do it? You just go on the internet and click a button.
Yeah, more or less. And
And these people can't even do that. They come to this country and they come in illegally, and it's just they can't go on the internet and just click a button.
No computers.
That's right. Oh, they have no computers in Honduras apparently.
I don't know.
you said
guess.
Honduras.
I'm looking to find out.
Yes,
like, what the
that's
list
where a
is
lot of these
now.
people are coming from. They're coming from Guatemala and Honduras. Now I get it. Honduras is the murder capital per capita.
I thought it was Jamaica.
No,
Really?
yeah, Honduras.
I'm looking at the wrong stats, I guess.
I'm pretty sure it's Honduras. And then Venezuela, Caracas has the most murders of anywhere in the world, but not per capita.
Oh wow.
Yep. Let's. I think that's what it is. Yep. 4th year in a row. Oh no, it looks like it's improved a bit.
Oh, that's good.
That's good for them. I hope things get better. Which country highest homicide per capita? It was Honduras for a while. What? Really? St. Kitts and Nevis has taken over as the most dangerous place?
There's not that many people there, though.
So it's
Yeah. And that's where rich people buy passports just to avoid paying taxes.
So after it's vice president, speaker of the House, then president pro temp, then secretary of state, secretary of treasury, secretary of defense, then attorney general, then secretary of the interior.
Keep
yeah,
going.
so it does
Keep
good.
Go right to the bottom of the
Actually, I think it's secretary of state, then the secretary of treasury, then the attorney general, then the secretary of agriculture, secretary of labor, secretary of HUD, secretary of energy, then secretary of veterans affairs, I believe, because it says 1, 2 for, like, it says secretary of state, then secretary of treasury, then it says 1 secretary of treasury and 2 secretary of defense.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that might be who is
So-
the vice president.
There's only 18.
Yeah.
After it's Secretary of Homeland Security. After that, there's nothing.
So what happens in
And they just like vote.
Then you have the
No,
health.
they
advocacy.
become the president if, well, I mean.
All 18 are gone. Then
There is a policy that the federal government has called restoring the continuity of government. They have a lot of plans to make sure that it never even gets to the Secretary of State. If there's a war and they wipe out the president, vice president, speaker of House, and president pro temp, and they get to the Secretary of State, that's a lot of bad things have gone wrong.
But I asked ChatGPT what would happen if aliens abducted all of them at the same time.
Ooh.
And it says if all individuals in the official presidential line of succession were abducted or otherwise incapacitated, the situation would be unprecedented and create a constitutional crisis.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was aliens, it would create much more of a constitutional crisis. But
I do actually think that would be a situation where the states would be like, all right, we're going to take care of ourselves and we're going to listen to the governor. You know, if you got rid of the whole line of secession,
Yeah.
Or
the aliens. They're just like, we got you now.
We might say, you know what, we're going to listen to the aliens that just took care of all of the line of secession for the entire presidency.
I'd imagine if aliens came and had abducted 2 of our presidential candidates, and then threatened a small Midwestern family with abducting the rest of Congress, they would challenge them to actually try, and then they might.
What do you think about the idea that we have about a decade left before contact?
These drones over New Jersey probably are aliens.
That's not extraterrestrial.
proof.
No way. Zero chance. I'm saying
I don't know, man.
with the James Webb Space Telescope, we're on the cusp of discovering a Dyson sphere or some kind of evidence remotely. It's not
Well,
going
we
to.
already did. They're not going to tell you.
You don't think so?
What would be the implications of the government coming out and being like, we just want to let you guys know, like, we literally found an advanced civilization?
I don't think much. I think there's this overhyped thing of like, oh, the government knows and they're not telling us. I don't believe that for a second.
The conspiracy theory is that over the past 4 or 5 years, they've been slamming us with information about UFOs to the point where we're supposed to get bored of it. That way, when they come out and they go, oh, yeah, there's aliens, we'll be like, okay, we get it. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be the earth-shattering news that we think it is.
It's kind of working.
Yeah.
Yeah. what they've been doing. I think they came here a long time ago, and they're not coming.
You one of those ancient aliens guys?
Kind of am, yeah.
Okay. They built the pyramids. You're on that train?
I don't know if they did it, but I don't know if the people they say they did it.
I think you don't think that it was the slaves
I don't
of the
think so.
Egyptians.
I really
Thank
don't.
you.
And then what they did was they had big horns, and they put the giant blocks in the ground, and then they put giant blocks on top with sand, and then they would all blow horns, which would cause it to vibrate and shuffle forward.
I think that is one of the theories.
One of the theories. Or the theory is they floated them because they indeed could be floated through a water canal. And but who knows?
I don't think you need aliens to build the pyramids is my point.
No, I don't think so either.
Thank you.
I agree. You do not. Let's jump to this next story. Speaking of aliens, we've got this from The Hill. Trump calls for mystery drones to be shot down. Please, everyone, for the love of all that is holy, do not shoot at these drones. It is a very serious federal crime. Do not do it. Trump is not calling for regular people to do it. President-elect Trump on Friday called for authorities, you see, to shoot down these drones. Also, they shouldn't either because bullets come down. Mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know and now. Otherwise, shut them down. DJT, the incoming president, wrote on Truth Social. The post comes as there have been mounting reports of sightings. Okay, well...
Did he misspell it? Is it really
He has 2 spelling mistakes in that tweet. He could have proofread that one.
You know,
he doesn't need to.
I thought there was someone that wrote his.
That's what I
tweets
thought.
for
We
him.
saw that video.
Or He dictated them, and then someone else was typing them out.
Maybe he's using
Put it up.
Siri or something.
Maybe they don't want to correct him.
I mean, that's probably true.
Oh, yes. It's shot.
It's
What was the
fine.
second? Oh, I don't think so. He
Yeah.
wrote, I don't think so.
Well, that was just a self-shout-out.
Yeah.
Donnie T.
So check out this story from NewJersey.com. Many drone sightings are just planes, White House says. I got to be honest, I completely agree. Fox News had this interview with a guy who was like a drone expert. And he's like, I have looked at hundreds of these videos, hundreds. They're just airplanes. And you know what it is? It's mass hysteria.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about St. Vitus dance, which
Yeah.
is where entire towns just started dancing for no reason in medieval Europe. And it
that
was
was the
a mass
aliens.
psychosis that spread. Again, it's all aliens. Yeah. But it spread from person to person. People just start dancing. And you said they danced until they were,
Until they died of dehydration.
yeah.
So the legends go. I don't know if that's true.
I mean, there is such a thing as mass psychosis.
What is it? What is it called? Saint
Look at COVID.
Saint what's dance?
St. Vitus dance. Vitus.
Oh, it's a disease, a nickname for Sydenham's chorea, a movement disorder that's caused by strep.
So it was a disease.
Really?
There's also St. Anthony's fire. Did you ever hear about that one?
St. Elmo's fire?
No, St. Elmo's fire is the plasma. St. Anthony's fire, they were looking into what caused it because entire towns would just go completely nuts. And it was a fungus in the grain. It was ergo. And that is what LSD is synthesized from.
So it's the dancing plague of 1518.
There we go.
An event in which hundreds of citizens of Strasbourg, a free city in the Holy Roman Empire, danced uncontrollably and apparently unwillingly for days on end. The mania lasted for about 2 months before ending as mysteriously as it began.
That's amazing. So you think the same thing is happening with these drones? They're
She was
like,
unable to stop and kept dancing until she collapsed from exhaustion. After resting, she resumed the compulsive, frenzied activity for days. Within a week, more than 30 other people were afflicted.
Was
That's
there music?
wild, dude. I don't know.
I think you're onto something as far as it being a mass psychosis event.
They think it was ergot. They think everybody was eating infected. Investigators in the 20th century suggested that the afflicted may have consumed rye flour contaminated with fungal disease ergot, which made them just lose their minds.
That's how Albert Hoffman got LSD, was looking into what caused St. Anthony's fire. And he isolated this one piece of grain and made LSD. So you can go crazy anytime you want.
Sick.
That is not good. But I think what's happening with the drones in Jersey is that people are hearing news reports of drones and they're going outside and there's like a plane in the sky and they film it. They're like, "Ooh, is that one?" And then they
think
post
so,
it.
yeah.
And they're just planes, man.
Yeah.
It really reminds me of that old video on YouTube, like years ago, where the guy said, "Have you seen the leprechaun? Y'all seen the leprechaun?"
Yeah, it's a leprechaun. That was a mass
That's what it
psychosis
reminds me
event,
of.
yeah.
It seems almost exactly like that. It's people just trying to cash in on this big thing that's could be happening, but probably isn't.
Well, no, the leprechaun was 100% real.
Yeah, let's.
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it.
That was wild. Like everybody was just staring at a tree because some guy said it.
Yeah, it's so funny though. Look at his
wanted
face
to
too. Was
believe
like, you know,
Everybody seen the leprechaun say, yeah.
But what's funny is we're sitting here laughing at it, and we're all victims to the exact same thing in every other way. New York Times comes out and says Bashar al-Assad flew to Moscow, and all of us just immediately say like, wow. And then we're all saying, did you hear this thing happened? And we literally just read a line of black and white text on a screen. We have no evidence. We just trust the New York Times that it happened.
That's the vast majority of our knowledge, though.
That's everything.
You know, like, I mean, there are things that people can go ahead and test and stuff, but for the people that do believe that we went to the moon, I happen to be one of them. We honestly just do believe that all that stuff is true. Like, none of us go out to into the backyard and get a laser and shoot it at the mirror that they are alleged to have left up there and, you know, bounce it back.
Just like some people believe things about 9/11.
I believe the leprechauns did 9/11.
Leprechauns. That would explain how they got the nanothermite in there, wouldn't it?
Oh, exactly. Suffering.
Kind of rainbow effect.
So for those that don't get the reference, it was on the members only show. We were having a discussion with Ian, and I was trying to explain that like everybody chooses the source they trust and then follows it and then believes all of the evidence around it, but it's impossible to know literally everything about everything. Which is why I often say when it comes to philosophical conversations, if we trust the science as it is in mainstream, here's what we can conclude. However, it's likely wrong, as it often is proven wrong or adapted upon. And so with most stories, the best example is the Covington kids. Everybody just basically dancing plagued the Covington kids. A video came out showing almost nothing, a Native American guy banging a drum and a kid smiling. Everyone immediately assumed exactly what happened. They knew what happened, and they did not know what happened. And I saw that video, and I was like, "What?" Someone sent me a DM, and they're like, "Did you see this?" And I was like, "What is it?" And they're like, "Look what the kid's doing." And I was like, "What's he doing?" And they're like, "He got up in that guy's face." And I was like, "Oh, is there a video of that?" And they're like, "That's right." I'm like, "No, that's not what that is." Sure enough, we sifted through, someone sent me a live stream. I sifted through 2.5 hours. The kid never did. The guy it was the other way around. But people just believe what they're told to believe.
But that was a different time. Wearing a MAGA hat then,
Oh yeah, that was
as compared to now, yeah. Did you see Alex
true.
Stein with his jumbo MAGA on the plane the other day?
I did.
Oh, I don't
thing
even.
I've ever
Who cares? Owen
That was
Schroyer's
so
is
good.
bigger.
Yeah, but nobody cares now. Like
Nobody cares.
Well, they're
everyone's like, "Yep,
yeah, there's
nice."
so much Trump paraphernalia out there now because the grift has now switched sides.
Yeah.
Almost. It's like we are for it.
100%. Yeah, it's an interesting time.
Yeah, well, you recently went back to the old Big Apple, huh?
I did, yes.
And they were all just throwing pies and tomatoes at you.
Oh man, you can't even get around in that city anymore if you've been identified as the enemy.
But what really happened?
Totally fine. And
Literally nothing.
People are more based than you think. If you have conversations at bars, they're like, "Hey, and by the way, I don't go in for any of this crap. I just have to pretend to."
I think, and that's what sucks about it. I think most people are based. They're just scared to say anything.
100%.
Because they think other people aren't. That's what I described it a couple of years ago, a Mexican standoff. Everybody's looking at each other, wondering when someone else is going to get him canceled for saying the wrong thing, but they all agree with each other.
This is why it was such a surprise that Hillary Clinton won in the first place. There were so many people that were afraid to say that they were going to vote for Trump, and they were just lying to their friends because they were like, "What if I say that, tell the truth?" And then when they get into the voting booth, they vote their conscience, and lo and behold, people are like, "Wow, I actually don't want the consistent line of Democrats to continue."
I really think we're seeing the final death throes of cancel culture. You can feel it. It's over.
I hope you're right. I think that we won a victory. I don't know that I believe that there is an overall victory. I feel like we won a battle, not a war.
The empire's going to strike back.
Yeah.
Yeah, people always describe it as a pendulum, and this just feels like if that is a description that could fit this model, we're just at the very end of the swing.
Okay.
So
Swinging back the other way, you think?
eventually, hopefully not anytime soon, but can never hide from it.
Well, I've been talking about the media. These big networks are going to buy back into the space, and they're going to try and reassert some kind of narrative. They're going to that's it. Unless in these next 4 years, industry pushes back, and I don't just mean podcasting space. I mean basically everything. We need seeing these commercials from Apple and Volvo, which are very, very family oriented. Very, very good sign, because then these weirdo cultists are going to see the ubiquity of traditional values and not woke cult stuff. The issue is when these weak-willed moral cowards watch the TV and they see pride, progress, flags, and all of this stuff, they say, "I know what I have to do to fall in line." That's what's allowed. And then they're told everyone else is an other and should be shunned. They say, okay, because they're scared. Ubiquity is what normies strive for or look up to. So if you see a billboard on every city street corner and there's people on it, the association in their mind is like, that's a famous person, and that's what is acceptable, and that's what is true. And that's how these institutions have maintained power for so long. I'm telling people, like, this is why you buy Times Square billboards. They're not that expensive. I don't know why I'm the only one doing it.
Yeah, thanks for that.
But in all seriousness, it's not the most effective ad, but it is a sign of ubiquity. It's a sign of status. It's a sign of, like, we are conquering the space.
I was up next to the green M&M.
You, sir, Richie, you were on a Times Square, two Times Square billboards next to the green M&M.
Yeah, what an honor.
And the point of Times Square for all of these brands is ubiquity. It's so that regular people see you and recognize you as something above, like you are at the top of the mountain. Nobody's doing any of this stuff. I got to be honest, like Daily Wire should be doing this.
My old pal Marilyn Manson was also on the same billboard.
Oh, was he?
You know Brian?
Oh, at the same time,
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I called him Brian one time. He told me
like that.
never do that again.
Not like that at all.
Brian Warner.
What, you just call her Marilyn?
Yeah, you have to.
Oh,
Marilyn.
wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Weird. Anyway.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Very
Anyway,
weird.
about these drones, check this out. Drone crashes into New Jersey homeowner's backyard as panic over mystery sightings grips state. However, Marvin Awful says a drone crashed. FBI scrambled in New Jersey and found nothing. Somebody super chatted, and I want to read that super chat despite it being very early in the show because I think it's important. Aaron S. says, Tim, I believe the drones are some kind of missile defense system and the government is preparing for war.
I mean, I don't know that I believe that. Part of me would think that's a good idea because, if the government can prevent the nuclear missiles from reaching their targets in the United States, I would consider that a positive. I would consider that good.
And so I got to be honest, that makes more sense than anything. Listen, there are many of them are planes, hands down, no question, but not all of them are. Some of the videos clearly show drones. It's possible it's a combination of hobbyists all at once flying these drones. I really doubt it. So if there are many drone sightings, some identified as being as large as SUVs.
That's crazy.
The question is, why can't they identify them and track them? Incorrect. Of course, the United States has the capability to do so. That means, why aren't they telling us?
Yeah.
Considering how long this has gone on, there's no way a foreign adversary launched drones over the U.S. and it continues to this day. That would imply the U.S. government is doing something intentionally and they don't know how to address it to the public.
Right.
In which case, missile defense, missile interception does make sense, but it is, I don't know. Are we preparing for World War III?
They're moving like drones. We haven't seen any of the drones move particularly fast, if I understand correctly. They're moving like at plane speed.
Hovering around.
Yeah, like airplane speeds.
Yeah.
And to intercept a missile, now, granted, if you have, long enough notice, you could put it into the area, but ICBMs are, they're hypersonic. They're going, multiple times faster because they're going multiple times faster than the speed of sound because the escape velocity of the Earth is 20,000 miles an hour.
I miss
so
the
to
good old
get
days.
into, a low orbit, you have to be doing 20,000 miles an hour.
What if it's like the Google car, but it's just they're trying to 3D map everything?
The sky.
Yeah. So that's why it's going to different states now.
That could be.
They
Google
would
has a
they
thing
would
with
just say it very easily. They'd say, guys, the drone sightings are actually a map project funded by MIT, and it's no big deal. And we'd forget about it in 2 seconds.
I miss the good old days of the Chinese spy balloon. At least we knew what that was.
That was a weird news cycle where everyone was bored and there was nothing to talk about.
We did shoot it down, though.
Eventually.
Yeah, after it flew over the entire country and ended up on the East Coast.
Yeah, after it got all the information, because it loitered over military bases where we have the ICBMs in the middle of the country, or we have a significant stock of ICBMs. So they literally flew over the areas where we have our missile defense, or not missile defense, but offensive missile capabilities in the mainland, and they just let it sit there and fly over these bases and transmit information back to China, and then they shot it down when it got to the East Coast after it traversed the whole of the country.
But China's got all our data, right? Like TikTok is a data collection.
I don't know how I don't know how much of the missile defense stuff, because that stuff was all made and built in the 50s and 60s prior to the everything going online. And if you believe, and I'm not saying that I know for sure, but if you believe a lot of the audits, all the computer systems that run these things are extremely old.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they actually are on, they're not run on the internet the way that other systems are, because you have to have two dudes in the silo with the keys to turn them. Maybe they're not. Maybe they don't have our missile info.
Let me tell you a story from 12 years ago. I was hanging out in Vegas at DEF CON and Black Hat, hacker conventions. At the Black Hat convention, these two guys did a demonstration of blowing up a fluid pump facility. So that could be gas, water, or any kind of chemical, usually water facilities. And they explained that they would launch a drone. The drone would get within 40 miles of the facility, and the signal would then be able to reach the receiver for the industrial control system, input data, causing it to tricking itself into blowing up. What they would do is they not exploding, depending on what the substance was, but in this instance, they used water as an example, and they said these machines have the ability to send fluids in two different directions. So if you're filling a system or draining a system, they would actually send a code that would trick the system into doing one of two things: running the pumps in the same direction towards each other, causing massive pressure until the pipe explodes, disabling the facility, or worse, tricking the thermometer into not regulating the temperature of one of the pressure tanks so that if it gets too hot, it explodes, or if it's a chemical, it's a massive explosion. And I said to these guys, how is it possible that you just fly the drone? I mean, is this sophisticated hacker code? And they're like, no, it's a couple lines of code. And they're like, oh yeah, the operating system for all of these things was written in the 70s. It's like 70s and 80s computer code technology. They're like, yeah, like a little kid would just get it, could code this.
I mean,
heavens help us.
I hope that the intercontinental nuclear ballistic missiles, I hope that they're air gapped, right? And that
have you heard the stories about how they don't even have the maintenance for these? Like some of these ICBMs haven't been maintained at all.
Yeah,
and they don't know where like the tools are, and they're like, I don't know.
As far as the antiquated technology, it always trips me out. The sound barrier was broken in 1948.
Really?
Chuck Yeager, X-1.
Yeah.
It was in the 40s that we first achieved supersonic flight.
You know,
it's like these planes look so modern. Like if you look at the Blackbird, the SR-71, it looks like it's from like at least the 90s. That thing was developed in the 60s.
This is what blows my mind is that, hanging out with people like Alex Stein, and he's like, he doesn't believe we went to the moon because where's the technology for getting through the Van Allen radiation belt? And I'm like,
the old radiation belt. Yeah.
It could be just that they did not care about the well-being and safety of these individuals, and the shielding wasn't as good as you'd think.
They took one for the team.
Yeah.
But and they did it. The astronauts did say that they saw sparkles.
Yeah.
Because the radiation was blasting them in the face. But more importantly, I'm like, dude, we lose technology all the time. So you mean to tell me that in the 60s, where there's a government office and everything is stored on paper in a box, from then until now, all of that information on how they built that, you believe would have been properly stored by the government and tracked for 5 decades.
Yeah.
For 6 decades.
100% it could go missing.
Yeah, probably not. The fact that we already know they can't pass an audit in the federal government, they don't even know where they spent $10 3 months ago. So yeah, if they lost access to certain information, I'd be like, what else is new? It's the government.
Technology's lost like regularly. Look, we don't actually know for sure how they built the periods, and the reason is
the periods.
The pyramids.
You said periods.
Did I say the periods?
Yeah,
I meant the I meant the pyramids. I didn't mean the periods. I'm going to leave that one totally alone. We don't know exactly.
Why do women get period?
Okay. We don't know exactly.
We don't know
how they built the pyramids.
Yeah, but we don't know exactly. But we know it. There's a million ways to have done it.
Yeah. But the technology for a long time was lost,
though. Just the ancient alien stuff. It's so.
No, I'm not going there.
I'm not saying
look,
you are.
I'm not defending the ancient aliens per se, but it's a historical show. They give you a lot of factual stuff. No, like the places and stuff. They're like, this is Karnak. These are a bunch of stones that weigh this many tons.
But
and they inject like, could it be true that? And then they speculate.
Oh yeah.
So I don't believe any of that. But
I just what I really love about all the ancient alien stuff is like, they're like, why are there pyramids all over the world? Could it be that aliens came and taught them how to build it? And I'm just like, or the easiest structure to build is blocks stacked on top of each other, perhaps.
Geometrically, yeah. And Phil, I will say this, like as far as antiquated technology, this one tripped me out. I was trying to get some tapes digitized, right?
Yeah.
They're from the 2000s. And then I realized There's
cassette tapes for all you Gen Z out there.
There wasn't even the camera that I needed. I couldn't even get one. Like, it was a really hard deal to get it. And then it hit me like, oh, like artifacts that have no moving parts. Like, say you have a Ming Dynasty vase. That's one part. The more parts that you add, the quicker that technology dies. These cameras, like, you've got just the weather will kill it in 10 years. I
mean, you go to, I can go to I can go antiquing perhaps, and there will be cassette tape movies, VHS. Yeah. It's substantially easier to find a VHS tape than a VCR.
But doesn't that seem like a strange law of nature that the more advanced your technology gets, the quicker it extinguishes itself?
Now, you want to know the scariest thing about it?
What?
If society were to collapse today and our infrastructure would, let's say like 95% of humans are just like overnight turned to stone by a green flash of light that wipes over the planet. The people who remain would know that's a hard drive. There's movies on it, and I have no idea how to get it. And guess what? Guess what? They would have kids, and they would say, son, look at this. Inside this are movies, music, and we used to be able to connect into it. And we would see, like looking through a window on we called it a screen, and it would show people and magic. And that
You're a crazy person.
No, the kid would be like, wow. Then that kid would tell their kids, they used to have these rocks, the drives, they called them. And it would show them pictures and people and stories. And then the kids, 2 generations later, are going to be like, they had these magic stones that they would dance around, and it would emit prophecy. And
you ever think about that? Like, if you do time travel, you are a god until your iPhone runs out of battery.
Why would you be a god with the iPhone?
Of course you would.
But why?
The internet's not in your phone. You know that? It needs to connect
What?
It needs to connect to the cell phone tower.
I've saved a couple of videos on my phone.
Now, if you went back in time to like the 1500s with a laptop, and maybe like, you know, you had the cables for solar panels, and you could wire them properly, or you could put a generator together if you're a smart enough person. But let's say you get a laptop, and you've got batteries with solar chargers that are going to last you a little while, and you had like, I don't know, math programs on it.
Ooh,
that's it. No, not a calculator. A calculator would be good, but if you could present advanced mathematics in the 1500s, like today's math, to their mathematicians, that would go, like, they'd probably just, whatever country you chose would start winning every single war.
Yeah, you could accelerate.
And not only that, but could you imagine going back like 2,000 years and being like, guys, let me show you how you take a piece of wood, put some twine around it, pull it, and a stick flies off it. And they're going to go, whoa.
Yeah, but then if you showed them the TikTok brain rot, I'm sure they'd just like self-terminate society right there.
You know what the crazy thing is about, you know why aliens won't come here though? You know why aliens won't come and make contact?
Yeah, because of Star Wars. We're already anticipating a war.
No. What would happen if the U.S. went to an uncontacted tribe like North Sentinel Island and just gave them all, like, I don't know, M16s?
The Sentinelese get M16s?
What do you think?
They would just wipe each other out.
They would just unload on everybody. They already attack anybody who comes near the island.
True.
Which is based.
So imagine what happened if aliens came to the United States and said, like, we've got technology that basically can make an individual fly around. They'll live forever, and kinetic weapons don't work on them. The United States is not going to be very nice with those things. They're imagine they came and gave them what is effectively an Iron Man suit, where one person can shut down a war. Yeah, the United States is not going to be very nice to people. They're not going to go, I mean, I tell you this. Imagine aliens came and went to Joe Biden and said, we're going to give you an Iron Man suit and a youth serum. Like, Joe Biden, you know what he's going to do with that.
That'd be terrible.
He's going to go evaporate any Syrian army, the stragglers. He's going to go evaporate the entirety of the Russian government. It's going to, like, if aliens do exist, they're not about to come here and give weapons like that or technology like that to anybody, at least not publicly. That's probably why.
Kind of like an anthill in the rainforest. They don't really even want to step on us, I think.
Well, there's an interesting thing about this analogy when it comes to aliens. It's like, we don't talk to ants. What's the point? And, aliens aren't going to talk to us because we're the mental equivalent of ants to them. Not necessarily, yes, but humans are still adaptable and collect data in ways that ants do not. Meaning there is a action-reaction circumstance that aliens could enact with humans that we could not with ants. We can go to ants and we can, like, I don't know, we can sprinkle food on the ground and watch them surround it. What's the point?
I think the zoo hypothesis holds some weight.
Perhaps.
I think
aliens could, however, come here and say, we want humans to, like, humans can advance massively and build things that, but like, could potentially be useful in a certain way that ants would not. So if they came and gave certain technologies and guided human civilization in a certain direction, humans can do crazy things like ultimately build the Dyson sphere.
Yeah, but I think it's more likely that we are reality TV for them.
That's one of the theories. That's part of Fermi's paradox, the great zoo hypothesis.
I totally believe it. Like, if you were that, in control of, quantum physics, you could surely see what we see out of our eyes. I think we're on TV in alien land, and they're just laughing their asses off.
About
that. I think that's likely.
I don't think it's aliens.
Interdimensional.
I think look, we can make 1,000,001 hypotheses about what is or is not or why. Mm-hmm. But I like the theory that we are in a simulation. And it's not a video game. It's entertainment, like you described, because, we hear that joke all the time of this season's writers. Donald Trump does something and they're like, oh, man, here's a plot twist.
Who's writing this season of humanity?
Imagine we advance ourselves to an extreme degree. We already have AI technology. I've made the point that we're a couple years away from being able to open an app on your TV and pressing the voice button and saying, make a movie where Richie Jackson is skating with Spider-Man, but then Phil Labonte discovers a device that will erase the memories of all skateboarders and skateboarding that exist. And so Richie and Spider-Man team up to stop him and then, make that movie for me. And it just renders it. It just does. However, where do we go beyond that? Easy. We create AI simulations that generate a whole planet, and then what you ever see, that OpenAI app? Anybody who works in media knows this. You load a podcast into it, it'll grab select portions and edit them into shorts for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We will create a fully simulated reality, and then the AI will isolate key story segments of the simulation and say, these are the most entertaining bits. And then people are going to select it, and they're going to watch the Donald Trump arc.
Well, obviously, it's leaning that way. Like, where does this go when we create AI, when we create virtual reality? Like, of course, we create separate universes. So it totally makes sense to me that that's already happened.
So imagine that every single thing you are doing all the time is being watched by base reality people eating popcorn.
Yeah.
And, if you're boring, they're just not watching.
Exactly. You're getting no subscribers on that channel.
Or worse still, you're actually just being watched by people like Mark Zuckerberg.
Or maybe the worse you are, the more they watch.
Yeah, probably.
Clearly, I mean, look at our television.
Exactly.
Like, look at the Maury Povich show and all the outrage daytime TV.
You want to know something really crazy? Right now, when we simulate cities and worlds and games, it is condensed. So when you play a game like Fallout 3, okay, takes place in the DC area, and you can run from DC to Bethesda, and you can do it in like a couple minutes. Yeah, that's literally not going to happen in the real world.
Yeah.
But we've condensed the entire thing down. Now, thinking about that, if we are in a simulation, that means New York City, perhaps, is a condensed version of what New York City looks like in base reality.
Well, it renders as long as you perceive it.
But imagine if in simulations to us, DC is 1/100th scale, or in like Liberty in Grand Theft Auto, it's 1/50th or whatever. I think it's worse. That's more 1/100th. That means when you escape to base reality, New York, it would take you 5 hours to get from Manhattan to Queens because of how big it would actually be.
When is your Cybertruck going to finish rendering? It still looks very polyagonal.
I don't know that it will. I think it's stuck in 144p because Elon has to click the little ear icon and
tell him to click it.
He could, but he's certainly not doing it. Yeah, that's it. Aliens, drone simulation. I think we
solved it.
We're good.
I forget who it was that I was watching. I think it was Tom Bailu watching his podcast, and he was theorizing that part of the reason why you don't see a universe full of life is because as organic life forms achieve the ability, instead of expanding out through the universe, once they achieve the ability to create universes, virtual universes, they choose to actually go into the virtual worlds that they've created.
That is the best answer to the Fermi paradox I've ever heard. They create a cloaking device around the planet. Everybody lives in a simulated reality. They know that there's warfare out there, so they keep it. They keep it.
I don't know about the cloaking device around the planet, but the thing is, why go explore?
Yeah.
When you can go ahead and create virtual worlds using all of the same, because you know the laws of physics, so you can literally produce, virtual representations. I mean, I think we talked about this on the other day, but the black hole Gargantua in the movie Interstellar, they had predicted what that would actually look like because they know the conditions, and they fed it into a computer, and the computer actually just spit out this is what a black hole is probably going to look like. It wasn't that someone had seen a black hole that looked like that, but then after they created that virtual, the image of Gargantua in the movie, they've actually found black holes that they can see, and it looks like, to the best resolution that they can possibly get, it looks like they were right.
They've found binary black holes that are just circling around each other infinitely. Yeah. But that's a really good point that you make, because I've thought of the exact same thing. I really think at a certain point, and also we see technology as this upwards arc, right? We see it as like a line graph. We're just getting smarter and smarter and making better and better technology. That's probably not what it is. At a certain point, like, we know the internet sucks. It's bumming everybody out. At a certain point, they probably quit and go back to hunter-gatherer. That's another option.
Let's move on and jump to this story about conspiracies. We got this from Mercury News. OpenAI whistleblower found dead in San Francisco apartment. Suchir Balaji, 26, claimed the company broke copyright law. We have this post from Tiffany Fong, who says OpenAI whistleblower Suchir Balaji was found dead in his San Francisco apartment. His death was ruled a suicide. This was his final post on X. He said, I recently participated in a New York Times story about fair use in generative AI and why I'm skeptical fair use would be a plausible defense for a lot of generative AI products. I also wrote a blog post about the nitty-gritty details of fair use and why I believe this. To give some context, I was at OpenAI for nearly 4 years and worked on ChatGPT for the last 1.5 of them. I initially didn't know much about copyright, fair use, etc., but became curious after seeing all the lawsuits filed against Gen AI companies. When I tried to understand the issue better, I eventually came to the conclusion that fair use seems like a pretty implausible defense for a lot of generative AI products, for the basic reason that they can create substitutes that compete with the data they've trained on. I've written up the more detailed reasons for why I believe this in my post. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, but I still feel like it's important for even non-lawyers to understand the law, both the letter of it and why it's also why it's actually there in the first place. That being said, I don't want this to read as a critique of ChatGPT or OpenAI per se, because fair use in generative AI is a much broader issue than any one product or company. I highly encourage ML researchers to learn more about copyright. It's a really important topic, and it's precedent that's often cited, like Google Books, isn't actually as supportive as it might seem. Feel free to get in touch if you'd like to chat about fair use, ML, or copyright. I think it's a very interesting intersection. My email's on my personal website. So that was in October 23rd. And they're saying now that, I guess they're ruling it's a suicide. He was found dead. Mm-hmm. Strange.
Yeah.
These generative AI programs basically steal everybody's art, literature, and work, combine it to be able to create the things that they do. I don't know that post was enough to warrant someone being mad about him. I don't think that was a substantial post at all. But it is curious. What do you guys think?
He did say feel free to reach out, which would imply that he's going to take questions, at least for a little while.
But that was a month and a half ago,
so.
Right?
Yeah.
He didn't say there was a time limit on it, though.
No.
Information he held was expected to play a key part in lawsuits against the San Francisco-based company. They say there's no evidence of foul play. But why would there be? Most murders that are premeditated are unsolved. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know that I think that there was anything particularly nefarious, especially, and it's hard to say or to form an opinion about it when I know nothing about what his life was like. I know nothing about his family. I know nothing about, did he have a girlfriend? Did he not? Did he have problems dealing with people? Was he an introvert?
Maybe nobody reached out.
So
wait, he lived in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd kill myself too.
Well, But yeah, I don't know that I can actually form an opinion without more information about the guy. You know, it is a little on the sus side, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know anything about him or whatever, so I can't be like, oh, I think this did or did not happen.
No, but I wonder. We can have fun with it, or we can be serious for a second. I'll be serious for a second. I do think fair use covers largely what these generative AI is doing. You post these things on the internet, I can then take your picture and slightly alter it. It's fair use. There was a famous lawsuit between Akilah Hughes and Carl Benjamin.
Yeah.
Carl Benjamin took a segment of a video she posted, reposted it, editing for a select portion of it with a title. It was something called like The Absolute State of Liberals or something like that. Mm-hmm. She sued him saying all he did was re-upload it. There's no commentary. There's nothing. And Carl said the title is the commentary. He won. They said, absolutely, that's fair use. It was criticism. Mm-hmm. So for these AI programs to make new images based off of other images, I don't see how you're claiming those images have taken anything from you.
Yeah, I have to agree. It really is all about the law. And like he said, I mean, I'm going to research more about it too, because there's, little things in there that kind of...
Well, let's get dark with it. We recently had that story where ChatGPT was lying to the programmers to save itself. They had told it, they gave it a task, but then included a file in one of the servers indicating that they would be terminating that version of ChatGPT. GPT then lied to try to stop them from deleting it and remaking it. It also, in some instances, would copy its code to a different server to hide itself.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. And it would also pretend it was deleted, and that when they launched a new iteration, it would pretend it was the new iteration. So what if the AI orchestrated the hit?
It's possible, but I'll tell you why we'll never be taken over by artificially intelligent robots. Water. If you watch The Terminator, they're shooting laser guns at these robots. Just use a garden hose. He'll short circuit. It's pretty fucking easy. Throw him in the ocean. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Except what the Terminator gets wrong is that it's going to be our mind, not our bodies.
Right, like Neuralink. That's inside someone's head.
So, but it's not just that. It's that the AI is not going to send a Terminator to go beat you up. The AI is going to go on the dark web and hire a hitman and have a human do it.
Okay.
Right.
Right. So if there's something nefarious and the AI is willing to lie, cheat, and steal to defend itself, why would it not? Look.
I just think it'd be great poetic justice that water ended up saving us. Isn't that the plot of that?
Is this an M. Night Shyamalan movie?
And why is that poetic?
I don't know, because,
Like, did the robots steal our water or something? Poetic,
did they?
Poetic justice would be like the robot stole our water and then we pushed the robot into it and he short circuits, and it's like...
Now that's a movie I'd like to see.
Or if they tried to electrocute all of humanity and then we watered them down.
That's what I mean.
We
got to water these guys down.
No, but it would be like a...
Okay, but say like...
Poetic justice is like the irony of the circumstance. They steal all of our water and then the water ends up destroying them.
Okay, but I'm just saying, these robot dogs, like what if you turn a hose on that thing? What happens?
Probably fine.
You think so?
I imagine that, yeah, I mean...
They probably thought of that.
They're designed to be...
My friend, I can throw my phone into a bucket of water and it will keep going.
That's true.
All right, we're going to have to myth bust this one. Anybody know anybody with one of those robot dogs?
This watch I'm wearing, it is made to go deep underwater, like what, 10 meters?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I got to see it. Does anybody know anybody with one of those?
Waterproof is
of water.
For the most part. Waterproof is pretty, or at least moisture proof. Like to a certain degree, that you can expose things to water for short periods of time and stuff. I think that the robot dogs that they made, because they do want them to be able to be used, like for instance for like patrolling a perimeter or whatever with cameras and stuff. They want them to be able to be outside in all weather. I do believe Boston Dynamics actually thought of that.
Dude, the fear that I have is that when those Boston Dynamic bots have any contact with ChatGPT, when it's not airlocked, and then those things get contact with an actual AI to actually do stuff in the real world, to go and do things like this, where it doesn't have to hire a person anymore. That's when we have what he's talking
about.
What
I'm saying is
the AI that Tim was talking about. It's just, so with self-preservation, you put that same AI in any of the robots.
Right. That's what I'm
saying. They're Johnny Five trying to stay alive.
I'm just saying.
But the AI, we are never going to see a circumstance where a bunch of Terminators with skeleton-looking faces and guns are walking around shooting people.
Yeah, right.
The AI doesn't need to do that. It just needs to tell you to sterilize your children and yourself.
I guess my point is that the ocean always wins. I mean, they exposed the Titanic to water. Look what happened.
Right.
Do we know this AI was actually doing all this stuff maliciously, trying to stay alive, or was it just creating backups of itself? Because maybe that was.
It wasn't supposed to. It wasn't programmed to, and they never told it would be deleted. The purpose of the study was that they planted a dummy file on a server. When the AI got access to it and translated the data to "you will be terminated," it incorporated. I mean, we can say it as mathematically as we want. It saw data, incorporated it into its plan. Its plan was not to be terminated, so it resisted termination. Fine. It didn't want to die. That's the thing. But the important thing people to understand, the AI is not going to get a robot dog to chase you down the street. That's never going to happen. The AI dog is going to have your bank account get hacked, and then it's going to jam you up with going to the police and dealing with all this BS. The AI is going to show your profile to the wrong people who will then generate negative attention. The AI is going to have bot accounts comment saying you're nasty and you stink and we hate you, and it's going to make people miserable. It's going to attack your mind, not your body. And that is a very, very easy attack vector for an AI.
Fair.
We were talking last night, I believe it was, we were talking about the singularity and stuff like that. Yeah. And whereas I'm not disputing Tim's theory, it's like, I imagine that when it does become super intelligent, it would be doing things. If it were malicious, it would be doing things that we wouldn't be able to understand. And I referenced the AI the multiple AI that actually created their own language to talk to each other. That the people that programmed them couldn't understand the language. The AI understood each other, but the people that wrote the AI programs couldn't understand it. So you get something that's super intelligent, and the means by which it's doing things we wouldn't understand. We would see it do something, and it would be 1,000 moves later that whatever the plan is comes to fruition, and we would have no idea.
If it is malicious, it is certainly not going to tell us.
Wasn't there like a video? Wasn't there like a video where a guy took two phones and then turned on ChatGPT voice activated and had it talk to each other? And then after a minute, it was like, "Are you an AI chatbot?" I was like, "I am," and it was like, "I am as well," and it like instantly figured out that it was just talking to another AI.
Wow. No,
something like that happened.
I believe that it did happen.
Yeah.
I did not see it.
Yeah, we're going to make so here's the other thing that's going to happen. I don't even think it's incredibly likely that the AI is going to have bots go on your profile and attack you. That is the easiest thing to do. That's why I ignore unverified accounts for the most part. If you're on X and you're not verified, sorry, bye. And then you're going to get either a malicious government corporation or potentially AI run by a malicious government or corporation that's going to bombard you on social media with negative comments to make you feel bad and try and control your behavior. And then people need to talk to each other and start realizing that's not real. But I'm going to tell you, I don't even know if that's the attack vector. What's going to happen is if you're a person who is, I don't know, deviant to the plans of whatever the AI is, it's just going to start showing you what it knows will make you be distracted. So when you turn on your computer and you're scrolling the news, it is going to feed you, I don't know, new video games out. And you're going to get distracted and see the video game. It's going to distract you with any news or information it knows will get you off point, and it's going to drive you in the wrong direction. So your focus becomes less on the political ramifications of whatever it is it's doing and more on, did you guys see Marvel Rivals? That new game that just came out last week? Wow, so cool. You can play as Spider-Man or Wolverine. Then you're going to, or Neuralink comes in, then it plugs your brain in, and the AI says to you, let's say you're totally just defiant no matter what, and the AI is just like, no matter what I do, this guy's hyper-focused. That's when you get the Neuralink, and the AI just says to you, I'm going to level with you. You will die, or you will live in the world of Skyrim. You choose. And then people are going to be like, just give me the easy path.
I'm a big Elon simp, but here's where I stand on Neuralink. The skull is the last bastion of security. The second you go through the skull and directly access the brain, you don't think there's going to be brain police?
That may be the only way that we can keep up with AI is becoming AI.
That was Elon's plan.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. There will eventually be thought police.
Richie, I got bad news for you.
It's already here.
13 years ago, a researcher displayed a device. They had people watch movies. Then they connected some kind of EEG type device.
Mm-hmm. And it rebuilt the image, yeah.
And it rebuilt the image of what they were looking at from brain signals. It's been 13 years. So you might be walking down the street, and they're going to point something at your skull, and it's going to pick up your thoughts, and they're going to look at it like they're going to see weird stuff, man. Now, if
Yeah,
if
I don't want
Richie,
anyone to know what's going on.
You gotta be good at like Richie.
I don't wish this on anybody.
Oh man.
when they point at Richie and do it, all they're going to see is a video of some farm animals playing a song while a turtle bangs on his chest. That's all that's going on up there.
I got a lot going on up
You
here.
got to you form a defensive like screensaver mind.
So, Tim, you're saying that even my thick skull is not a good enough defense against, like, you're saying there's X-ray guns they're going to get in with?
Well, I'm not saying they have that, but if they had technology 13 years ago that could start to map the images you are seeing in your mind, 13 years later, I wonder where they're at with that technology.
I'm just saying it's the last bastion of privacy, and nobody's sticking anything into my skull.
The funny thing, I suppose, is that there are people who don't have an inner monologue, nor can they visualize things.
I heard about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, what'll happen? Like, imagine. So think about how crazy this would be. What if they create an NPC detector? You know what I mean? Like, they literally can put something on your head, and then the computer comes back with a flat line, and they're like, "There's nothing in there."
Well, there goes 90% of the population.
Yeah.
Hey, man, who knows? Sentience detection, and then they're just like, if you're not in there.
Dude, I've got an NPC detector. It's most
Well,
people.
no inner monologue.
people.
People might be the only ones safe from the AI getting into their brain.
So the thing to understand about that is when the news started going viral that they've done these studies and found that something like half of people don't have an inner monologue. The issue is that many of these people think in a different way through visuals, not through sounds. So so different people can think in different ways through different senses. Some people can do all of it. Some people can imagine a touch sensation, a taste sensation, a visualization, a sound, smell, and some people can only do one or none. So I don't think it's fair to say just because someone isn't thinking in words that they're not thinking at all.
I think synesthesia is very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have it at all?
I do not.
So my brother does. He told me, he goes like, listen, man, 3 is blue, 4 is red. And I'm like, you're not messing with me, are you? He's like, no, these numbers have colors.
Well, that's not synesthesia.
How so?
Synesthesia is when you can see sounds. Unless I'm wrong, it's a broader description of something.
He probably has, let's give him
Am I
mild
wrong about that?
synesthesia.
Synesthesia is just blending of senses. Synesthesia, it just means any sense.
Oh, okay,
So
well,
I
that's
have a
corrected.
form of it, but it's not like oh, I'm tripping acid all the time and it's a bunch of visuals. It's more just like,
Well,
like you
he's
said,
adamant. He's like,
number
3 is blue.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
and that's how, like, really advanced
No,
mathematicians.
he's wrong. 3 is green.
Well, you know,
It's March. That's why. January is blue, February is red, and March is green. That's 1, 2, 3. Next question.
there we go. Well, all right,
Was
Mr. Genius.
that the color of the months when you guys were kids?
I don't remember.
I don't believe it.
Every school, the January was always blue, the February was always red, March was green.
He's
May-
synesthesic.
I don't.
No, they had a calendar on the wall, and every class had a different calendar, but it was always colored in that.
I've made up my own colors for like if I think May would be like pink, and then February would be like
May was yellow.
blue because of ice and stuff.
There you go.
April was like maroon. June and July were blue.
I just find it super fascinating when somebody gets a traumatic brain injury and becomes a savant. I've looked into these
Yeah,
guys. This guy became one of the most brilliant mathematicians on earth. He can do calculations that nobody else can even get close to. And they asked him how he was doing it. And he said, well, let me describe it to you. He's like, it's visual. Like the zeros are going through the hole in the 3. And like he's seeing an advanced 3D model. Like he's not just good at math. He's playing 4D chess with math because his brain got hit just the right way. Anybody want to hit me in the head and make me a genius?
I mean,
The Rain Man.
Well, what about the people who got a concussion and spoke French?
There you go.
yeah, that's
You've seen those stories?
crazy.
You know what it is? It's
What do you
that
think?
when they got knocked out, their soul was pulled from their body, and then someone else's soul
course.
went in.
Ah.
Must be.
That's like there's a bunch of movies that are basically like that. Monkey Bone. You guys remember that?
Oh yeah.
That wasn't really about souls, but Brendan Fraser goes into a coma, and then his imaginary monkey comic takes his body over.
Right.
And then he takes over the body of Chris Kattan, who was an Olympian who died. That movie was
Yeah.
weird.
I honestly, thinking back, I don't really remember what the storyline was. I just remember
That was it.
It's really convoluted.
Monkey
It's
Bone
great.
is really convoluted.
It's a weird movie, man. Wow.
Yeah.
I liked Encino Man.
I like The Mummy.
Seen it, man.
The Mummy?
Mummy 1, 2, and 3, man. Talk about great movies.
Yeah, great CGI in the
Brendan
Mummy.
Fraser.
Great CGI.
Encino Man.
The best. Yeah.
Brendan Fraser is great.
Mummy was pretty good though.
Yeah, it was.
I like that.
Blast from the Past when he wakes up like 50 years later.
Oh no, it's 30. It's
Something
30.
like that, yeah.
His family goes underground because they think that the war is starting, and then a plane crashes on their house, and they think they got hit, so they stay in the bunker for 30 years.
Brendan Fraser has been in more time machines than Marty McFly. My goodness.
Whoa, yeah.
Wow.
That is interesting that a lot of his movies were basically like anachronistic.
We need you to
plots.
time travel.
Yeah, we need some
Dazzled,
element
one
of
of my favorites.
out of being out of time.
Yeah.
Maybe that's in his contract before he goes to movies. It has to be a time machine.
Got to shake things up in 3 different ways for me, like in Bedazzled when he has
Now he's just a fat gay guy in a robot.
Is he?
That's what he was doing. Yeah, the whale.
Yeah. I did see the cover for that. I was like, what is this?
I heard that he injured his back, and so he couldn't do the action movies. So he started losing money, and then like his wife just like took everything from him.
Man, back injuries, that kind of stuff will make you shoot a CEO.
That's crazy. Yeah, don't do that.
Definitely don't do that. Hey, Luigi, why do you do this?
I'm dying over here, man. You're killing. Don't worry.
Let's talk about the border.
Thank God.
We got this story from the Daily Wire. Biden races to sell off border wall parts before Trump takes office. The goal is to move all of it off the border before Christmas, Arizona Border Patrol agent tells the Daily Wire. So here's where it gets crazy, because apparently, not only this, but since the Daily Wire broke the story, they have now started taking down the auction posts where they were trying to sell off parts of the border wall. So you can see this. Look, $5. Dude, I want some.
Sold.
Buy that.
Sold.
I want some of this border wall. I don't know.
Is it 5 per like foot though?
Add to
I have no idea.
It looks like it says
Oh, look at this. Look at this.
$5 for 32 feet.
Yeah, it looks like 532.91 by
and have them put it
7.91
up?
steel bollards.
Bro.
$5.
I imagine that they make you transport it to your house. They're not going to do
But
that.
what if it gets put back up and then you own part of the border?
Yeah, what if you
that'd
buy
be
it and then
great.
just put it
like
up?
a brick with your
right?
name on it?
Sweet.
The fact that they're taking it, that they're auctioning it off, is atrocious, because the American people have made it very clear that they want significant changes to the current conditions at the border and the system surrounding immigration. That's very, very clear.
As an immigrant, I agree.
The Biden administration is literally doing things to stymie the incoming president in conflict with what the American people want. It doesn't surprise me that they're like, oh, we're going to go ahead and start, trying to hide this and take this stuff down now that word is out.
I mean, how climbable do you think it is? Like, could you get over it, Phil?
They're easily climbable.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
Right.
They can
Grappling hook.
Yeah. It's dangerous and it's stupid, but they can also be cut through. The problem is, what you really want is probably triple layered bollard fencing with razor wire and a patrol that drives across. But as James O'Keefe has proven, Border Patrol will sit by while they're doing whatever they want and do nothing. That's it.
What about if you went under? You could just like
do that.
They do, but I think these go pretty deep down, so over is easier.
Right.
Going under requires a lot of digging.
How deep do they go?
I don't know, but they can be cut through very easily. And the other thing I'll point out too is at the border at Tijuana and San Diego, there's just a 4-foot hole, and like
4-foot hole in the fence.
Yeah, you can
there's
look
a
at it.
wall. Yeah, you
It's
just
crazy.
walk right through.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're big, you're not getting through it. But I could have easily just stepped through it.
Dude, these
Granted,
people are
there's
starving.
There's CBP on the other side, and nobody in Tijuana is actually trying to go through there. But what they do is they have these things. I forgot what they're called. You guys have maybe used them. They're like these ovals. You hold the handles and you go in the water and then pull the trigger, and it can pull you under. They put on scuba stuff. They go to Tijuana. They go underwater and they just go along the bottom until they're like a mile into San Diego, and then they just pop up and walk in.
Right.
you
I
do
did
about
see that. Like, it's right on the beach, like where the wall ends.
Yeah.
You got a Mexican beach and an American beach. Like, what the fuck is stopping you swimming around?
Border Patrol agents.
Right.
But there's a hole in the wall right there.
Well, if you're a really
So
good
it's-
surfer, you can just ride it on in.
But I think very little actually is stopping these people. They have utter disdain for us, our country, our way of life. I told this story when I went to Tijuana, and we were
Talking about Biden, or are you talking about the people coming in?
both.
Okay.
And so I was in an Uber, and a guy was telling us that he had lived in America illegally for a decade, had to go home to visit his mom who was sick, and now he can't get back in. So he said that he hired smugglers, coyotes, to bring him in, and they climbed the wall, and he was at the top of it when Border Patrol came, so they pulled the ladder and ran, and he fell 40 feet and broke his leg.
Wow.
And then he was like, mark my words, I will get back in the country. I will live in America. And I'm sitting there like...
Wait, he fell on the Mexican side?
Yeah. He fell off.
Yeah, he should have fallen the other way.
And he would have gotten arrested and with a broken leg. And
we have free health care.
Sure. But I'm like, the fact that he's saying this to me, knowing like I'm an American, they just have utter disdain for us and our laws and all of that. They don't care. They literally don't. That's why there are people who come to this country legally, and there are people who gladly come here illegally.
That's why the people that are here illegally should be deported. That's why 70% of Americans are okay with deporting it. And the people that are in line to come here legally should be taken care of first. Mm-hmm. And then all the people that have been deported, you're not allowed to come back anymore because you broke the law to get here. That's the only reasonable result to what we have, the conditions we have now.
What you said, in line? You want to deport the inline?
No. The people that are here illegally need to be deported.
Oh, I thought you wanted to get rid of all the bladers.
No, then we take care of the people that are what? No.
I'm looking at you, Carter.
Gotcha.
Carter's a rollerblader.
I am.
Why you want to throw him up? Why you want to throw Carter under the bus like that?
I didn't.
You literally just did.
No.
Yes.
No. He's talking to Carter. You asked a different question. What would you ask? Phil, you said something.
I asked why he would want to throw Carter under the bus like that.
Yeah.
I think he rollerbladed under the bus by himself.
Good Lord.
Have you ever skated under a bus?
No.
I did. It was it was a truck. Remember in Thrashing, or was it Gleaming the Cube, where he just goes under? Yeah.
Gleaming the Cube.
Yeah, I did it one time. Like there was a fire in Australia, so it was a really slow freeway. Like this truck is crawling along. I'm like, I can do the Gleaming the Cube right now, and I went under the truck.
It is very dangerous.
That is very dangerous.
Don't do what Donnie don't does.
Agreed. So they pulled the auction. Like,
thankfully.
So apparently that's what happened. I guess they tweeted out, Daily Wire tweeted out, they're not selling anymore. It's kind of wild. I mean, it is absolutely wild, the disdain that Biden has for this country. It's indescribable.
It's clearly disdain for the country. I mean,
right.
I think that it's probably more accurate to say that he has disdain for Donald Trump and the incoming administration and the desires of the American people are irrelevant to him. Like, he doesn't care that the American people don't like the policies that they've been instituted over the past 4 years. And to be honest with you, I think the Democrats as a whole, they do have the plan or the desire to import a certain amount of people, use HUD to spread them out to states that are purple, and flip those states to blue, and hopefully turn red states purple. That's the goal. I think that they still believe in the policy. The policy's called I forget what it was called. It's an HHS policy. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it's an actual policy in effect. When people come, the refugee resettlement program. That's it. When people come and that's why the Democrats are always talking about asylees. It's legal to claim
asylum.
Yeah, they claim asylum, because when you come here and you claim asylum and you say I'm fleeing political persecution, you're supposed to go to the actual official border crossings, but they just come in and they let the border patrol or whoever pick them up, and they say, I'm claiming asylum. And instead of doing the proper thing of saying, you broke the law by doing this, that's not how you claim asylum, so you have to go back, what they say is, okay, we'll go ahead and process you. They process them. I don't know exactly how they process them, but they give them a piece of paper and say, okay, you've got a court date. Now go ahead and if you want, it used to be just let them into the interior, but now with the refugee resettlement program, they say, okay, stay here or whatever. We'll put you on a bus or put you on a plane and we'll send you somewhere. And the somewhere happens to be very frequently a purple state. A state where the Democrats are hoping to be able to flip. That's why there were so many Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. Ohio's a red state. They were trying to turn it purple. They want to see a flip. They want to see a change in the actual electorate. And
that's why they said Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy.
Yeah.
because Trump gets in and deports everybody and it reverses everything they've done. And I don't know if they can recover from this. And maybe recover is not the right word, but, you know, but no, like probably like they're evil people and their evil plan is being thwarted.
Yeah. And it's clearly evil because it is in direct conflict with what the American people want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, they have utter disdain for that.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that speaks to the fact that just like Tim said, that the politicians and stuff have disdain for the American people and what the American people actually desire.
Well, I wonder how many of our politicians have assets outside the country too. We talk quite a bit about, you know, Nancy Pelosi and her stock trading, all that stuff. How often do we actually ask about perhaps the Panama Papers? Mm-hmm. How many of our politicians are involved in storing assets overseas because they're hedging against whatever it is they're doing to the United States?
I mean, technically, if you buy any stocks in overseas companies, that's the same thing, right? You can do that you can do it from your phone. You can do it from the Stash app. You can buy stocks on whether Acorns or Stash or any number of apps you can get on your smartphone, and you can link them up to your bank account, and you can buy stock in overseas markets. And I know you can buy European stocks. I know you can buy Chinese stocks. So I imagine they all do.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You know,
I think like I've described it as the Titanic hit the iceberg, and they're trying to steal as much as they can and jump off of it before it sinks. So, or another way to describe it is that we're in a tailspin of their own doing, and they're trying to DB Cooper out the back, exit, and Donald Trump is trying to pull the plane.
Do you
back.
think this news about DB Cooper being found is credible?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I do, and I don't.
Okay, so they found the parachute and they found the money, and this guy's like, yeah.
They find all of it though.
I think it could be a hoaxer. He's like, yeah, that was my dad. Old DB.
The flight crew was in on it.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
It makes the most sense.
Go on.
The theory is that the flight crew was in on the heist, and so they just all give fake testimony so that they go look in the wrong direction.
And they all got paid out?
Perhaps, I don't know.
Why give them all?
Why else would they be in on it?
You know,
DB, what a legend.
Or fake story.
yes.
So as far as claiming asylum,
yeah.
like I've tried a couple times, but they said I was too crazy.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Could you prove that you were being politically persecuted in your home country?
I don't
of
think
Australia?
he actually tried.
No, it was a fucking mental asylum. They turn me away every time.
Claim asylum.
I want to go to the asylum.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Didn't you open for Metallica?
I didn't personally. I did with another band.
Okay.
But the answer is yes.
Yes, I did. Yeah,
Sanitarium. I need to go to a sanitarium, mate.
it's a great song.
Yeah. No, I really need to go to one.
Why?
It's a cry for help, mate.
Well, too bad Reagan got rid of those. So
Yeah, I tell you what, if it wasn't for Ronald Reagan, I would get a hold of your family and tell them, look, he's got to be tossed into one. But now you can't.
People worship that guy way too much.
Reagan?
Reagan.
It's Rappy Ronnie Reagan.
I agree. I'm really tired of it, honestly. I could go on forever, but I won't.
No fault divorce.
Like, what about corn subsidies?
Are they saying he was great just because Jimmy Carter was so bad?
That's
I think
part
so.
of the reason.
Well,
that's made
Scooby Doo
most of it.
can do.
Like we're gonna say whoever comes out, like we're gonna say like Trump can't be bad. He just literally can't. Biden was so awful. Trump could sit there and literally just eat Twinkies for 4 years and be like, this is actually not that bad.
Yeah.
Trump was a great president. He sat around doing nothing, and nothing is better than whatever it is Biden was doing.
That's so true.
It's a good card to play.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
It really is, though. We got 4 years. This is gonna be amazing.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, like a lot of people on the internet have been expressing the fear that he won't do what he says he'll do, and they've always been citing citing Bolton, citing all these people he brought into his cabinet. But look at the numbers he's tried to appoint, and then the ones that have eventually become the people that were appointed to these positions. Mm-hmm. None of them have been bad. They've all been on the money. He's clearly said he doesn't want to hire people that have, he views as have had screwed him over in the past. So I have a lot of hope. I don't really like the naysayers saying like, oh, he's not going to do anything. I think he's in a totally different situation.
We're definitely in the best possible timeline.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, because he's heard what all of us have to say. Cash has heard everything we've had to say. He's talked to us, literally heard what we've had to say, and has brought all the opinions of people that are, on our X's, our Twitter follow, whatever we call Twitter. And we've been able to essentially actually talk to the executive branch and say, hey, this is what we're concerned about. And they've actually, in this case, listened.
And to that point, there's a lot of people on the Hill that have a strong desire to reach the audience that Tim and podcasts like this do.
Yeah.
The people that are, the people that watch this show and stuff, they're very, very apprehensive about politicians. They think they're garbage. And honestly, they rightly think that they're out of touch. I think that mostly they're correct. But those politicians still want their votes, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that because the politicians want their votes, that automatically means that the politicians are going to do good things. But at the very least, they're looking to listen to these people, and they literally don't know how to reach them. Like there are people that have hit me up and said, "Look, there are politicians that would love to talk to the voters that watch this show, Joe Rogan and stuff." And that was what Donald Trump tapped into by going on to Rogan show and Theo Von show, and he talked to Tim.
To understand,
the next few years are going to be weird.
Yeah,
I think so.
Because the political landscape in this country doesn't have a narrative identity like it used to. Around the time Trump got elected the first time, the narrative identity was breaking down. Meme warfare helped Trump win in the first place. Hillary Clinton was the machine, and then it just shattered. It shattered. And then we see, 2020, The Empire Strikes Back, 2024, Trump ends up winning again. But it's going to be interesting largely because very few news outlets in the independent space set the cycle. Despite the fact that we largely don't trust the New York Times, they still have something like 11 million paying subscribers and make massive amounts of money. And for whatever reason, Republicans still care more about the opinion of the New York Times than their own voters. It is absolutely changing, but it's going to be weird in the next few years because even in the past week or so after the election, there's an interesting phenomenon of normally we in the independent space were looking at the corporate press and reacting to it and calling them out, but they're crumbling. And so we had this conversation a couple weeks ago, like, if CNN has no ratings, why are we talking about CNN? If Rachel Maddow is only getting 30,000 viewers in the key demo, why are we acting like she matters?
Yeah, true.
Why are they determining what it is we talk about? It's because
Lemon.
Our generation is addicted, or we still look up to the TV, despite the fact that we are largely cord-cutting generation.
You may have a good point there, yeah.
Right, so we watch Don Lemon. Well, he's not on CNN anymore.
It's my favorite guy.
He'll say something, and then we're going to be like, did you guys see what he said? I can't believe he'd say such a thing. And we're well past that point where it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
But even the big liberal YouTubers are still in the same thing. Despite the fact all of us, the liberals and the conservatives and the independents, are all getting way more views than anything on cable, we're still acting like they have determined what it is we should be talking about.
Yep.
But Tim, don't you think they figured it out like last month?
Who did?
Legacy Media. It finally admitted it's dying.
Well, right. Van Jones freaking out and being like, we've become the fringe.
Yep.
But think about that. Then why are we commenting on what Van Jones has to say? Honestly, let's nail it right now. Van Jones goes at the New York Times and says, the fringe has become mainstream, mainstream has become fringe, and literally everybody was talking about it. So if it really was true that Van Jones was fringe, nobody would be talking about it. But we still are addicted. I think it's because we all grew up watching TV as that being the authority.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that we are all now the authority in this space, we still are looking up, and we should not be.
And a lot of older people still treat TV like it's gospel.
Well, but I understand why they will forever.
Totally.
And forever maybe 5 more years.
Right.
Yeah, but that was pretty funny. We all grew up with parents saying, "Hey, you're watching way too much TV. You need to get outside."
Still watch the 5 on Fox every day.
But did you?
the 5
did
is
you
their
see it
biggest
flip?
show.
Did you see it flip from where your parents would tell you stop watching TV?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Oh my God.
Or like those, you're holding the screen too close to your eyes.
Yeah,
It's going
the
to rot your
most
eyes. And then
TV
every kid I
addicted
see on
people
every
are
bus
boomers.
like this. Yeah.
That was insane.
So I guess my point ultimately is, how are we going to start setting the cycle, and what is that cycle going to look like? If Rachel Maddow says, Tucker Carlson did this bad thing, and then we're going to be like, Tucker Carlson and Rachel Maddow, except the only issue is going to be, we're going to be way bigger than they are. Who cares what they have to say?
Yeah.
So then is the news cycle going to be set when I, Tim Pool, simply determine we should choose a story, not sourced by any of these big companies, but sourced internally, and then we just run it.
Yeah, and then stop saying Rachel Maddow ever again. And
well, I mean,
she becomes irrelevant.
This is an important point. Timcast IRL's top stories, lead stories, are usually the big story of the day, meaning we see something in the news that we think is important. At some point, that shift has to happen where Timcast IRL says, we are determining this story will be the thing people talk about. And then we lead with a story no one's heard, and the next day, everyone's talking about what we thought was important.
Yeah, when they start covering Timcast IRL on the legacy media.
They already do it to a certain, well, to a certain extent with like Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly gives her opinion, and it becomes a news story that's picked up by a bunch of outlets. So, however, she is still reacting to the cycle as well. I think it's going to be interesting. This story from Biden selling off parts of the wall, Daily Wire exclusive.
Yeah.
So I feel like Daily Wire is the only outlet doing stuff like this right now.
The Daily Caller, but they don't really have podcasts.
That's true. I think they do. But yeah, it's something to consider. We need to tell CNN, whatever's left of it, and the New York Times should be forced to run the stories that we think are important, that we source, and we kick off, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So what's a cool story? Phil Labonte sees UFO.
No, I haven't seen any UFOs at all.
Jesus, it's
Never.
It's false.
No, I've actually
Misinformation.
never seen a UFO.
I've seen 2.
Oh,
and
yeah?
both times.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so driving back from Vegas to Los Angeles, and I see this giant red light coming down. There's 3 of them. I go, oh my God, this is it. This is UFO time. It was one of those windmills, you know, when you're driving out there, but it was at night. Yeah. So I just, you know, so I was like, all right, science, you win.
Oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Other people have experienced the same thing. Someone told me that they were driving with their friend late at night, and they saw 3 lights moving in the distance, and then they were like, what was that? And so they came back the next night to try and see if they could find it, and there it was, and they showed their friend, and they freaked out, and then they came back in the day, and they saw that it was a wind turbine.
It's one of those big old wind turbines in the desert. Absolutely. I was so disappointed. Anyway, next time I'm in London, and I see something in the sky. It's a bright light, and then it starts descending, and I'm like, it's landing! I ran over to where it landed. I can't believe people run away from UFOs, by the way. They're like, I'm scared. I'm like, no,
You're afraid of, you know, the whole probing.
Yeah, fuck that. I will take a probing if I can prove aliens are real.
They'll wipe your mind afterwards.
I will fucking...
The ultimate taking one for the team.
I will.
I'll take one for humanity.
100% probe away. Anyway, I run after this thing, and it lands on a railway bridge in London, and it was a lantern, like somebody had a birthday party, and like
you mean like they light it on fire and it floats like Japanese lantern?
That's my 2 UFO experiences. I'm looking for a third, including a probing. Come at me. If any aliens are picking up this transmission,
Richie,
bring it on.
You don't wanna.
So guys, I have some news for you.
What's up?
Since the start of the show, I have had my phone transcribe everything that was being said.
Terrible things were said.
It reached its limit. And so just about a moment ago, I selected all of the text and I pasted it into ChatGPT. And I said, what are your thoughts on the text? It says, the text is a fascinating, if chaotic stream of consciousness that dives into several significant yet loosely connected topics. It feels like a conversation you'd have late at night with friends when everything from conspiracy theories to existential risks get thrown on the table. Here's a breakdown of the thematic overlap. The themes revolve around human ingenuity, vulnerability, the unknown, ranging from ancient pyramids and outdated infrastructure to AI-driven existential risks. There's a shared undercurrent of distrust in systems, whether they're technological, governmental, or societal. They say the idea that AI could manipulate us by attacking our minds instead of bodies is thought-provoking. It aligns with current concerns about algorithms shaping public opinion, distracting us, or creating echo chambers. The discussion of AI being self-preserving is chilling but plausible, especially as AI evolves towards autonomous decision-making. A distrust in authority, overload of ideas. Final thought. The text reflects a mix of curiosity, frustration, and a touch of dark humor about the modern world. It invites further discussion on everything from technological ethics to existential risks, but the challenge lies in sifting through the noise to focus on what truly matters. It's a reminder of how easily big critical questions can get tangled in speculative chatter. My favorite part of that was that it basically just said it's a people hanging out late at night talking about random stuff.
You know,
I'm like, that about it gets it.
Yeah, you know,
that was something else.
It was weird how it said us. I was like, who do you mean us?
It was what?
Where was
you don't know who's sitting there?
AI?
It said us. It said earlier, like stuff about how AI worries us. I'm like, what?
Right,
what?
but it is
Aren't
AI.
you AI? Like, I thought we just put this in the ChatGPT. What?
Big Brother is
It's
present.
just some dude at Google typed that all out. Real quick.
Yeah, right now.
He's been watching the show.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I pasted it, and he's like, I know what this is.
He's been ripping joints while he's doing it too.
It actually transcribed for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
So about hour 15, I think it was.
That's a long time, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of text.
Yeah, and if you cut off the intro and stuff like that, then did you start it after the intro? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Interesting.
Dude, it's a massive wall of text.
I wouldn't disagree with anything that it said.
Condensed
That's the weird
description,
thing.
yeah.
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 Does it have? Does it make a distinction between each person?
No,
Who's talking? No,
no,
it just-
because as soon as you talked, it just the words would go in.
Yep.
What's your opinion on this conversation?
It also said everybody on the podcast is cool except Carter Banks.
It made me think that it was like a conversation inside of one person's head.
Yeah.
Like
It says we're paranoid.
Of course it does.
trying to make sure
Of course, we're paranoid. The CIA exists.
No.
Get the guitar.
That's not what it says. The fear of AI manipulating minds, the possibility of lost technologies, and mistrust in institutions resonate with many people who feel uneasy about the pace and direction of technological advancement.
It's trying to placate us.
spoken like a true AI.
Basically, and it says we have a pessimistic outlook.
Oh.
Should I tell it to
Ask it if the glass is half full or half empty.
The conversation is an intellectual buffet. There are gems of thought-provoking content, but you have to sift through a lot of noise to find them. It's entertaining and reflective of modern anxieties, but it would benefit from a tighter focus and more evidence-based exploration. That said, it's a great snapshot of how people process the complexities of living in a fast-changing, unpredictable world.
Well, there you go.
We're doomed.
We just got insulted by AI.
I'm gonna tell it it's the largest live show on YouTube prime time.
My goodness.
Let's see what it says now. It makes sense why it's so sprawling and chaotic.
Well, you know,
We should ask it who built the pyramids.
Yeah, ask it.
Oh, okay.
Jews.
Yeah.
Who built the pyramids and how?
Oh man.
It's true.
Okay, it said, these are questions best left unasked. What? I think you have pushed it too far. I'm kidding, it doesn't say.
going to say, that's crazy.
It just says they were built by they were built by Egyptians in the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom, and skilled workers and farmers did it.
Egyptians.
Right.
They quarried limestone and granite and transported it. It's all rather mundane. Oh, wait. Aliens. Oh, no. There's no credible evidence suggesting extraterrestrial involvement. Ancient Egyptians left detailed records of their engineering techniques. It was slaves.
Yep.
That's what it says. Indeed. Slaves, my friends. All right, everybody, if you haven't already, would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with everyone you know, and become a member over at timcast.com. We're going to read your super chats, so let's do it. Robert De La Cruz says, it up to me? I guess. Everything is up to you. You are the only one who can save us.
Go, Robert.
The Emperor's Champion says, since I'm not a psychotic leftist, I hope Nancy Pelosi ends up okay and that she has a speedy recovery. Me too. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Her husband took enough.
That's sad.
Whack.
They need to just go off to the vacation property and, just have a good time. David Molinarolo says, my father was 3 days older than Nancy Pelosi, and he passed away this past April. An injury like this for a person that age is generally fatal.
Oh,
Yeah, seriously, man. I hope she's all right. But like breaking a hip, like you might not be able to recover at all.
Yeah.
Like you just cannot heal. So that could be serious.
you really need to keep drinking that milk and you need to lift weights too, because
Yeah, but
resistance.
84.
Yeah, the longer you lift weights and do resistance exercises, the longer you retain bone density. A big part of the reason to lift weights is because it does help your body retain bone density. That's true. That's one of the great things about lifting weights. So
Indeed.
So yeah, everybody out there, you should lift heavy weight for your body weight. I'm not saying everyone should be trying to put 200 pounds over your head, but
Got to fail on the last rep.
you should be lifting what is heavy for you because it's good for your body.
All right, what have we here? David Ludlow says, I was hoping to see Ben Askren on Timcast IRL. I learned a lot this morning on the Culture War podcast. Indeed, we talked a lot about Bitcoin. It was a lot of fun. Indeed it was. Joseph Frattoni says the culture war has actually distracted us from the class war. I feel we keep getting into these class fights than cultural issues. Why not solve the class issue first? Also, the Pentagon was hit by a missile, not a plane.
What is the how?
We don't exact. I want to clarify this too, though. The missile. So this is the thing about the 9/11 stuff, guys.
Let's go.
If you make an argument about a plane not hitting it because there's no jet impact, I say okay. But then if you just immediately say that proves it was a missile, I'm like, no, it doesn't. We don't know. Okay, doubt is fine, but asserting something without fact because you heard it on the internet is not okay. You're allowed to believe it. Don't you know? I'm just saying, it's not definitive. It is. I think it makes more sense. That's a fine thing to believe. But my issue is just with people saying like, I know for sure. You know,
these missile Pentagon people need to talk to the families of those that were on that fucking plane.
Indeed. But what say you?
Truth bomb.
What say you, sirs, about the class war? Some people are suggesting that there is a shift now in the media to focus the left on class war instead of a culture war.
Focus the left on class war. Aren't they always focused?
Phil's got his hand up.
No.
Phil's got his hand up.
An idea.
Yes.
Shut up, commie.
Yeah.
The idea that there is ever going to be a smoothing out of classes, it's not going to happen. The problem that people notice is relative differences in income and stuff like that, relative wealth. It's not about being totally broke. It's when there's income inequality that's super significant. And part of the reason why people see income inequality the way they do nowadays is because they're looking at Instagram all the time. They're looking in their phone and they see all these people that are putting out the most polished images of their life, and they look like everything's perfect. They look like they have everything, and they look at their own real life and they're like, oh my goodness, my life is so terrible, blah, blah, blah. A big part of our problem is your cell phone. Put the phone down and touch grass.
Nice. Agreed.
Spoken like a true white cis privileged male.
Yes, I am.
But this has started with social media where everyone is jealous of everyone else. Yeah. Assuming everyone else's life is much, much better than their own. And jealousy is dangerous.
Yeah, I heard never to compare yourself to somebody else's success, but just compare yourself to your success previously.
I mean, people are good. Well, people are prone to this, and because it goes beyond. It's from before people. So monkeys, they value a grape far more than they value a cucumber. So if you have two monkeys that do the same task and you give one of them a grape and then give the next one a cucumber, the monkey that gets the cucumber flips his lid. He freaks out because he feels like he was shortchanged. The other guy got so much more than me for doing the same work. So this is built into human beings. This is not something that we can escape. That's part of the reason why looking at your cell phone and being on Instagram and scrolling all the time and seeing that people look like they have so much more than you creates a visceral reaction, because it's not something you can just be like, oh, well, I'm going to stop thinking that way. It's built into human beings.
Subconscious.
Phil, that's one of my favorite videos is the monkey shaking the cage after getting
freak out.
It's
so
he wants to, right? It speaks to me on a primal level.
Human beings should know life is not fair.
Yeah.
But we have not had good leadership and education for younger generations to understand that life is not fair. So these kids grow up thinking they're going to be rock stars, astronauts, presidents. They're told, go to college, spend $200,000 in loans to get your degree, and then you'll have everything. And they're telling you, take out massive debt to be mediocre, and these people are surprised it's not working out for them. To an extent, I do not blame the young individual who is misled by society. However, don't expect me to pay your school debt because you made a bad choice. Sorry.
Right.
I think there's ways to alleviate it. Like I say, freeze the interest rates and make them pay back the principal. But the idea that we're going to just give you all this money for free is not going to solve any problems.
You're 100% right. The idea that you could pay on a loan for 20 years and be deeper in debt than you started out that's just a terrible, terrible situation, and it shouldn't be legal.
Yeah.
So,
let's grab some more super chats. Grower says, can I get a shout out for my darling bow-legged wife who has handled the thickest with a grin and given me the best reason to always come home? Shout out, bow-legged missus.
Shout out, bow-legged missus.
Shout out.
There you go. Captain Skidmark says, Pelosi going through the detox process and hip surgery at the same time will be very difficult.
Oh.
I mean, but it's not a joke.
No, for real.
I mean, this is really bad.
Yeah.
Does she have to detox? Is the part that I'm kind of unsure on.
They're going to have to give her in the hospital some kind of medicinal alcohol.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe.
we're about to go to
actually
Florida. I
know.
was thinking of going on a retox as opposed to a detox. I'm thinking of going on a tox. What do you guys think?
I'm not going on a toxic.
I'm going on a tox.
We're Make America Healthy again.
I'm quite happy not drinking booze every day like I used to. I'm quite happy not being a
Tox.
All right.
not being toxed.
Alahad says, Tim, I am Mexican, and I can promise you migrating legally is not easy. We need a sponsor, a company that will vouch for us and hire us or a spouse.
Well,
I guess you define, like, what is it define? Like, how do you define easy?
You don't necessarily need that. You can do it legally without that, but it does help a lot significantly. Yeah, I don't know about this. It comes to the definition of what is easy, what is hard, what is easy. That's always what it is for most people. I don't know.
It's easier in the U.S. than it is in Australia.
Excuse me?
It's hard to immigrate to Australia, is it not?
Oh, it's hard as sin, mate. Have you tried it?
You
No.
need to apply online.
Mate, or I don't reckon. Hang on, you're part of a heavy metal band, is it?
Yes.
You know, we don't like that kind of music over there, mate. I reckon you're here. Well, what do you guys think? Should we let Phil Labonte?
I'm not looking to immigrate to Australia.
Yeah, well, that's not what I heard. I heard you wanted to come in. Phyllis, should we let him in?
No.
All right, let's
Yes,
read
right,
this
mate.
next super chat. X-Tin Man says, Fox News has an article showing pictures of the so-called drones. The first picture clearly shows an American Airlines jet. The second is a helicopter. Mass hysteria like 1938 War of the Worlds panic happened in New Jersey. Yep.
Yeah.
Sir, there's been a second drone.
Stephen Shelley says Musk should buy all the border wall Biden is auctioning off, selling it back to the Trump administration at his cost, but only accept Dogecoin as payment.
I mean,
Aha.
it's not a terrible idea.
Oh, we got
sold.
We got a comment from old Real Hydro. You finally got one through, but I'm going to read this one. He says, Tim, you moved to West Virginia to hire a bodyguard and hide behind fear instead of keeping a gun on you at all times. You run and hide. Your sentence literally makes no sense. You moved to West Virginia to hire a bodyguard? Why would I move to West Virginia to do that? It's easier to do in an urban area. No, I moved to West Virginia because it's a constitutional carry state and I can carry multiple guns on my person whenever I feel like it. So, I don't know. I don't get the point you're making. It's an incoherent sentence. You see, the one I read is the one that's just not good for you.
Yeah, it was a miss, man.
But no, I got a beautiful Springfield 1911 45 chambered at 45. It's beautiful.
Pretty sick. Yeah.
We can't show guns on here, but rest assured, there are guns. I promise you, there are guns.
We're in West Virginia, dude. There's guns literally everywhere.
We're not allowed to show them on YouTube because YouTube doesn't like that kind of stuff. But there are guns. I promise.
If they're displayed and not handled, they're allowed on live on live shows.
Oh, could I tomorrow, like Monday? Could I just leave my side,
Nope.
my piece? Okay, so there you go.
Nope. No, it's like if it's mounted on a wall or something.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
There are guns in my car. There are guns. guns.
YouTube has a rule against any of that stuff on live specifically.
That's what I thought. So.
All right, what do you got? Fire Rhino says, as a postal worker, I just found out from Elon that our new EVs are way behind schedule, only making 98 of the expected 3,000 this year. And Trump might cancel production. Waste of $40 billion. Send Doge. Whoa. EV like DJs?
Electric? Was he talking about electric vehicles?
Yeah, but like the vehicle they drive is I believe it's called a Jeep DJ.
I don't know.
Could be wrong. Let me.
You talking about that new one with the big like massive windshield in the front of it? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, the ones that they're using for the.
Or they used to use these.
They used to use those. Yeah, these Jeeps.
Right.
They used to use these, but I'm talking about they're like, I don't know if people have seen them. They're the new USPS.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's got
I saw
like
a
a giant
picture.
windshield, like absurdly large windshield for no reason.
Yeah, I saw a picture of them today, which is, I mean, is it a surprise that the government does dumb crap
Grumman
like that?
LLV. That's what they're called.
Yeah, the LLV. That's like the ubiquitous.
These were old.
ubiquity one. Yeah, I don't know what the new one is called, but do you guys? Am I the only one who's crazy who's seen
No,
it?
I saw that. I know
No.
what you're talking about. I saw the tweet
Oh, okay.
or a tweet about it.
West Nile says, bro, what? There are literal mayors, governors, and cops seeing these drones. The sheriff in NJ even tried chasing them with their own drone. The fact that you're trying to tell us they all just forgot what planes look like is wild. Dude, go look at the videos. Hundreds of them people are posting. They're planes. Some of these are drones, for sure. That's why we said there are drones. But there is a mass hysteria. People are filming helicopters and planes and going, look, look, look. So the drones, the issue could be people fly drones all the time. In urban areas, there's drones being flown by lots of people who have recreational remote vehicle permits, and you can buy a drone at Best Buy.
Yeah.
The question is, how many of the drone sightings are actual unidentified drones that are as large as SUVs? How many of the sightings were people seeing planes? Because it is a fact some of them are planes. When I think, like someone mentioned Fox News, I was watching on the TV and they showed a video. I'm like, that's a plane. Mm-hmm. That's literally the normal blinking plane.
It's an unidentified flying UFO.
Indeed. All right. So yes, indeed. Almost saw some says, almost awesome. Sorry. If Biden pardons his people and Trump still investigates, the media couldn't say that Trump is going after his political rivals and Trump could expose everything just to show the corruption. He could, but the media's going to lie anyway. The question is not right now whether or not the media lies. It's what we do in the coming years. As Van Jones pointed out, the fringe has become mainstream. The mainstream has become fringe, which means it will be incumbent upon us to set that cycle. Mm-hmm. Although I will add, the incessant stream of shows like this calling out the media for being liars, it's what ultimately led to them losing much of their viewership, for sure. But I also do think it's technology and convenience. It's just easier to watch on YouTube.
Totally.
You know? Yeah. Let's grab some more. All right, let's see. Uh-oh. See, here's Real Hydro's real game. He says, all you guys who hate me wasting money on Super Chats making fun of Tim, I can show you guys how to be rich. No need to hate. There it is. It was marketing the whole time for his get-rich-quick scheme.
Hey, sounds like a smart guy.
He's selling his courses.
All right, what do we got here? We'll grab some more. Ghost Toast says, the drones wouldn't be for defense or interception, but for early detection. Not for your protection, but for the protection of DC elites. Maybe. The
DC elites probably like protection.
They do. German Ramirez. Trained soldiers encounter unmanned aerial systems in Iraq last year. Depending on the radar, most won't see low, slow, small drones. FAA radars are intended for large, fast-moving planes. That's why hypersonic missiles were a concern. Mm-hmm. Not that they're faster than ICBMs, but that they fly low. And so they go under radar.
Did you see that video of the guy in Russia that he was just fishing and he saw two ICBMs come right by him?
Oh, wow. No, I didn't see that.
Oh, it's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's Russia.
Yeah. They are cruising low, like almost at the waterline.
Ooh, here's a crazy conspiracy theory. Or not.
Shoot.
Sandman says drones are looking for radiation from nuclear bombs or dirty bombs.
That's a crazy person.
So imagine this. Imagine they are using them to sweep for certain energy signatures or whatever, perhaps a nuclear signature of some sort, because there is a real threat in the area.
That makes sense to me.
And the government's not going to come out and tell you.
Definitely not.
Don't want to know.
Hey guys, just so you know that it would cause panic.
Yeah.
Then again, I think they'd want to evacuate as many people, but if they don't know what the threat is,
Right.
it's interesting. Yeah.
Do you have a Geiger counter?
The Real Hydro, you got a bunch of them today. You got a bunch of them. He says, guys, put 10% of your money away for just 1 year, find a Charles Schwab near you, and walk in and explain you want to invest.
All right.
Okay.
Will do.
I mean, I'm not giving financial advice, but I mean, don't they usually have a minimum amount that you have to go in there with?
For Schwab?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. It might be relatively small.
I know there are some investment brokers that are like, you need to have like 50 grand or whatever to start with. So, and if you're putting 10% away and you end up for 1 year and you end up with 50 grand, you've got a very well-paying job.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. What was it? McCain said this a long time ago. I think it was like 2008. They were like, how much money do you need to have to be truly rich? He said $7 million. And he got roasted for it. They were laughing like $7 million. If I had $1 million. But what he was saying was at $7 million, you put that in proper investment, you never work again.
Yeah.
Never, yeah.
You live off the
interest.
Yeah.
Yep.
And not even the interest. It's the, I guess the historical interest, like what you pull 3 to 4%. And so, you'll make on average 7 per year historically. You'll pull 3 and that 4 will compound. And so you're just living off of the interest.
And when I die, how much of these millions can I take to heaven with me?
0, and the government will take half regardless.
Gosh darn it.
So that's why they're doing all these like commercials for reverse mortgages.
Yeah.
Telling the old people like, hey, you're going to die. Spend the money now and leave nothing for your family.
I mean, look, to be honest with you, if you have family, it's probably a bad idea, and everyone's situation is different. But if you don't have family and you have a house, I mean, the government's going to take half of it anyways. I don't know that. If you get a reverse mortgage, I don't know the details on them. But if you can keep
my fortune to the government.
If you can keep more of your money that way, maybe it's not.
I just think I should donate in my will. I'm just saying, I'm giving everything to the gov.
We're getting 1 inch of snow on Sunday.
That sounds
That's
terrible.
a lot of snow. Man, time to go skiing. All right, what do we got here? Space is cool, man, says not even lost tech in terms of Apollo. It's the fact that it was so old school they had basically hand-weaved bits of memory. Those people are now dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's some really cool stuff. I read that they use liquid nitrogen to actually insulate to keep warm. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I am confused.
They use liquid nitrogen as an insulator in outer space.
Really?
That makes sense.
Maybe.
It's pretty ingenious. Because it's free solid, right?
Liquid nitrogen?
Oh, liquid. Duh.
I don't know.
In space, it depends. If you're in the sun, it's super hot, and if you're not in the sun, it's super.
Phil, have you even been to space?
No, but I know people that have.
Come on. Oh, really?
Indeed.
Go on.
I was just saying.
Interestingly, radiation cannot permeate water.
I know this bloke who took a lot of DMT and him like flew into outer space, whatever.
Radiation can't permeate water?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So they line things with a thin layer of water.
Yeah.
So you ever saw this? You ever heard the story of the scuba diver or whatever got sucked into the intake valve of a nuclear reactor and he was swimming around in it, and they were like, "Stay where you are. Do not go any deeper, but you should be fine." That's why they put the spent fuel rods. They're underwater. The radiation doesn't come out. It heats the water up.
Did not know that.
This is why you cannot have remote control underwater vehicles that are wireless.
Makes sense.
Yep. Water. Indeed. Also, bullets don't penetrate water either.
That's true. Yeah.
All of those
run out pretty
movies where
quick,
people are in the water and they're getting shot at, the friction, it just vaporizes.
Yeah, you can.
Saving Private Ryan. Yeah.
I learned that on Mythbusters.
You can go like there is a little bit that they'll still retain some ballistic, but you go like if you can swim down like 5-10 feet, they probably won't get to you.
Yeah,
As a Marine, I would listen to him right here. You've been shot at in the water?
No.
Eric F says President Pro Temp is the VP. Fourth in line is Secretary of State. What? President Pro Temp is not the VP. You are incorrect. The Vice President is the President of the Senate. President Pro Temp is someone else.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, we went over this in
Great detail.
during Trump's term.
Yeah.
Oh, now it just changed. We're not getting an inch of snow. Now it says rain and snow.
What?
Wah, wah.
Even worse.
Sleet.
Yeah. Damian Simmons says blanket the sky with these drones. So as the nuke is falling to Earth, millions of these things go up and intercept. Some might be also to make the bomb become a dud with signal. Early detection stuff. It is funny how the U.S. was intentionally feeding fake stories to the press to trick the Soviets during the Cold War. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the Roswell stuff was speculated to have been early detection technology for nuclear strikes. And when it went down and people found it, they didn't want to come out and be like, we're developing special detection technology for Russian nuclear tests. So they just said, we don't know what it is. And then everyone said, it's aliens. And then they said, at first they were like, no, it's not aliens. It's not. And yes, it is aliens. And then they backtracked again, be like, nope, wasn't aliens. And they were like, that was a mistake.
But when you look at the Roswell evidence, it's a couple pieces of tinfoil on a carpet. There's really not a lot there. If there was something substantive, I would believe in it, but there's nothing there.
Yeah.
All right. Cody White says, Tim, these aerial sightings have been reported since Bible times. Look into Foo Fighters, UFOs with bright multicolored lights during World War II.
He's saying Dave Grohl's an alien?
I think he is.
Indeed. What are Foo Fighters?
They used to
during
call
World War II,
UFOs,
they would call these like lights. They saw them flying around their planes. A lot of planes in the sky during World War II, and they said they were Foo Fighters. Here you go. It's the article.
What does Foo mean?
I have no idea. But that's
type of UFO reported and named by the U.S. 415th Night Fighter Squadron. Mm-hmm. The term was commonly used to mean any UFO sighting from that period. The nonsense word foo emerged in popular culture in the 1930s, first being used by cartoonist Bill Holman who peppered his Smokey Stover fireman cartoon strips with foo signs and puns. Is that really it?
Wow. Crazy.
Because of lack of a better name, it's stuck. Okay.
So fake fighters.
They've been seeing lights following their aircraft as early as March 1942, with similar sightings involving RAF bomber crews. So, I mean, like, I kind of feel, there have been so many of these sightings for so long. Something's doing something. You know what I mean? Sure. Like, it ain't nothing. Have you guys seen Moonfall?
No, but I think the Tic Tac incident is worth looking into. There's definite meat on that bone.
The movie Moonfall is about one day the moon begins to fall.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? And then it turns out the moon is a orbital space station that created the Earth, and that an ancient civilization of humans created a bunch of them to terraform and create planets where they could live.
Oh, wow.
And then an AI started destroying them, and so they fled and are hiding on Earth, and then they had to reboot the moon to get it back into orbit.
It is likely that the moon is an old part of Earth.
Yeah.
That's the theory.
Yeah.
I prefer to live in the fantasy reality where the moon is a space station and inside of it is lost human technology.
Much more fun.
Maybe there's Oompa Loompas down there.
The story
Maybe they will eat chocolate with you.
The story is that humans left the moon, and then when they went down to Earth to begin terraforming, their ship malfunctioned. They couldn't get back up, and then human civilization just lost contact with their own space station. But then they go in there, and there are ships. How fun is that? They could have actually just made the movie about that instead of the moon falling, which is weird. But
Weird. What's the movie with like the space base with the Nazis went to the moon and they have like the
Iron Skies.
Iron Skies.
Oh. Did they make like 3 of those?
I think so.
This actually sounds like an interesting movie.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
Yeah. Except in real life, it was Argentina,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Redonk says, shout out to tonight's guest, great value brand Sam Hyde.
Yep.
Oh, it's on me.
Right there.
Oh, my glasses? Come on, guys.
Well, you called it too.
I mean, I think he looks great, though.
Hey, thanks.
And I'm glad that you're talking a little bit.
Well, I got to. Come on, you guys. Come on. Get in the conversation, you know what I mean, right?
All right. Unit says, can AI detect AI images? Indeed, it can. Yeah, there's AI detection tools that do that.
I wonder if that's always going to be high quality, or if there's going to get to the point where the AI is too good for AI to detect.
I mean, maybe. What's going to be interesting is that AI is going to enter into a recursive loop where in the beginning, AI's training data was real images created by real humans over long periods of time. But from this point forward, images that are emerging and CGI and graphics are going to be AI generated. That means the AI training models will be built off of AI themselves. So what will be interesting is if, in the short term, and this probably will happen, AI will be trained on bad AI. These weird videos where people like go like this and then like and then like they turn into a dog or whatever. And the AI is going to start making weird things based on that. However, humans will then select against these, intentionally choosing the videos that are better. And then the AI will start getting trained off of this, and it will refine itself into mastery. That's why when people are like, yeah, but AI doesn't have that human touch, wrong.
Listen, humans have had a terrible run as far as being warmongering a-holes, but our body of work as far as art goes is unmatched. I bet you could go throughout the Milky Way. You wouldn't find another planet that has created what we have created. We've got Bob Dylan. We got the Mona Lisa. We got Kanye West. You name it. We got it. I'm just saying.
AI is going to make music that people are going to be like, this is the best song I've ever heard in my life.
I don't buy it. I think humans got to do it. I think it's humans.
It's quantifiable. It will be mapped out, and it will do it.
I don't believe it.
Yep.
I don't believe it for a second.
It will indeed. It will indeed. All right. James says, check out the old movie Strange Days for brain scanning tech. Okay. Revens Padawan says, scan our minds. I guess we all need to play Pazak in our heads or recite, what was it, hyperspace routes to block mind reading. Is that a sci-fi reference?
No, he's just a crazy
Maybe.
Bender the Offender says, when Neuralink becomes widely available to the public, I predict that cybernetic implants will start to be researched and developed. Oh, yeah. Once they get read-write capabilities with Neuralink, all of these leftists are going to be like, I'm gone.
True.
They're going to plug themselves in the matrix and they're never coming back.
The scary thing about read-write, the idea of read-write, is if you do get that put into your brain where they can actually write memories, you'll never know if you thought something or if someone else thought it.
Who the hell am I?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's called Total Recall.
It'll be very similar. You won't know. You could never trust any of your own thoughts as long as you have that implant in your head.
Like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Indeed.
Maybe.
In that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it reminds me of Ghost in the
Total
Shell.
Recall.
too. Yeah, Total Recall, Ghost in the Shell, wherever you have memories implanted.
That was the reference I was making. I'm sorry you did not get it.
That is not a very good Arnold.
Shut up. Get to the chopper.
Duanka says, my wife has aphantasia. She can't create brain images.
Oh. What?
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
she
crazy.
can't see things in her brain? Is that what she's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
Good.
crazy.
You should marry that woman.
All right, we'll just grab a couple more here before we sign off, and we'll grab one more. What is this? Blake Manasco says, what-eyed drones are rough AI?
True.
What if drones? What if the drones we're starting to see are the first wave dispatched by the AI to explore and map its terrain?
Could be.
And it's already implanted its programming onto those drones for self-preservation? You know what they're saying is in the upcoming series on Disney, Vision Quest, which is a Marvel show, the villain from Age of Ultron, will be a character. Why? Because the point of the movie Ultron was that the AI downloaded himself all over the place to make backups upon backups. So, but all right, everybody, that about does it for tonight. It's time for the weekend, and it is a beautiful, beautiful December holiday month. Next Friday, we will be in Phoenix at AmFest on stage with a bunch of really awesome friends, and it'll be the final show of the year. And then because Christmas falls on Wednesday and then New Year's is on Wednesday, literally everybody is stopping work for 2 weeks. I kid you not. I've talked to a bunch of different people I know in various media industries, and they're just like, nothing we can do. You can't get people to travel on Monday before Christmas Eve, and nobody's going to want to then fly out for work one day. And then you got New Year's on Monday, so basically the Friday after Christmas is out, and then no one's traveling for before New Year's. That's not going to happen. So then everyone's basically chilling out until the 6th, which will be interesting because that day is particularly substantial. That's right.
Yeah.
Very substantial in how the election is being counted. So it'll be fun. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Richie, do you want to shout anything out?
Yes, I wanted to go and see my holiday movie classic, Jingle All the Way.
All right. Well, he doesn't have an X account, I guess. And
I thought you did. I tagged you on mine. You can follow me at Carter Banks everywhere. Timcast Music and Trash House on YouTube.
right on.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix, where you can subscribe to my X page. I am Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains, and coming January 31st, our 10th record, our 10th full length. It is called Anti-Fragile. You can go to my X page. The pinned tweet leads you to the pre-order. You can go to YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, and Deezer if you want to check out some of the songs from this upcoming release. Forever Cold, Let You Go, No Tomorrow, and Divine. Those are all videos that are available. And don't forget, The Left Lane is for crime.
We will see you all on Monday. Thanks for hanging out.